So one thing is, of course, being Nepali, like that's really important that our team is doing something. And honestly, Nepal as a country, ever since my childhood, I would say we are still struggling in so many aspects. So cricket is one of few which makes us happy, which makes us united. So I think that's what kind of sparked me, like that, you know, there is a team, there is something we are achieving, making us cry, making us smile, making us do everything. So yeah, I think that's the reason I support the cricket.
All the different emotions that Nepali cricket brings. I know you've flown down specially from Colorado to be here for these two games, and you got a big surprise. You got to meet some of the Nepal players just before the start of the third T20 here.
Yes. So first, thanks to you, because you know, you made that possible, and I'm so because you know, you made that possible, and I'm so happy. In fact, one of my classmates is also the teammates, so I was really happy to see him after such a long time, and some other players. So it was a great experience, and frankly speaking, just listening to them, sometimes it's not satisfying, you know, because other people can see. So I was able to touch, you know, the arms of like Lalit, so it was like kind of big. So now whenever I meet my wife or whoever the blind cricket enthusiast, I can tell them how do they really sound in front, or like how their body shapes like it, right? So it was really amazing experience that I can't express. And yes, you're right, I flown from Colorado. I in fact came here during the World Cup time as well, because I live all alone here, so something keeps me happy, something keeps me motivated is our cricket team as well. So each time whenever Nepal comes to USA, I always travel and try to kind of witness the game.
Well, Jay, it's such an honour to have you here. We love the support you give Nepal, and we're maybe, just maybe, going to witness a historic 3-0 victory. Thanks for talking to me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
That's Jay Lamachane, one of the super fans from Nepal.
Brilliant to hear that. What a story that is. He's come all the way from Colorado to experience today's match. And again, this is the third match of this series, and we've seen ups and downs from both sides and a lot of emotions going through. And we got a chance to sit down with Andres Gels, the star of USA's chase yesterday that just fell just short. He sat down with our Peter Delapena. Let's have a listen.
हजारौं लकी विनर्सले जित्न सक्नुहुनेछ वीकली र मन्थली क्याशब्याक्स, भाउचर्स, डिस्काउन्ट्स र अरु टन्नै अफरहरू। आजैदेखि टप अप, फ्लाइट टिकट्स, होटल बुकिङ, बिल पेमेन्ट्स र क्यूआर पेमेन्ट जस्ता सबै कारोबार ई-सेवाबाट गरौँ। हाम्रो चाडबाड होन्डाको खुसियाली बारमा जितौं 10 लाखको उपहार। यसपालिको चाडबाडमा स्क्रैच कार्ड मार्फत जित्नुहोस् 10 लाखसम्मको नगद उपहार। साथै चुज योर स्किमबाट छान्नुहोस् रु 10,000 सम्मको थप स्क्रैच कार्ड वा 12,500 बराबरको 5 वर्ष एएमसी प्याकेज वा 7 वर्षसम्म बाई वन गेट वन सर्भिसिङ फ्री। अनि बिग बाइक्समा 1 लाखसम्मको डिस्काउन्ट। र यो स्किम होन्डा इजी फाइनान्समा पनि लागू हुनेछ।
पसलमा भ्याइ नभ्याइ हुन्छ। पैसा जति सबै फोन पेबाट सिधै बैंक खातामा गएपछि म त ढुक्क।
कति बताइ?
450। फोन पे त मेरो लागि वरदान नै हो। आउँदै गर्नु है।
न क्याश बोक्नु पर्ने, न एटीएम मा लाइन लाग्नु पर्ने, फोन भए पुग्छ। फोन पे त मेरो लागि लाइफस्टाइल भइसकेको छ।
ट्याक्सी दाइ, फोन पे चल्छ है?
चलिहाल्छ नि, बस्नुस्।
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ। ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो। हस्, थ्याङ्क यू दाइ।
बिजुलीको बिल तिर्यौ?
तिर त। हेर्नुहोस् न, आफ्नो त बिर्सिने बानी। झन् यो बिल थिएन भनेपछि त यादै हुँदैन तर सम्झिने बित्तिकै फोन पे गरिदिइहाल्छु फोन पे मेरो लागि भरपर्दो साथी साँच्ची तिमीले फ्लाइटको टिकट बुक गर्यौ
मैले हिजै बुक गरिसके भने
फोन पे त मेरो लागि समयको बचत हो
मेरो लागि विश्वास हो
स्वतन्त्रता हो
मेरो लागि आवश्यकता हो
मेरो लागि सहजता हो
मेरो लागि दिनचर्या हो
साउजी
हजुर
मलाई तोरीको तेल दिनुस् न
यो लिनुहोस् नयाँ आएको मूल्य पनि कम छ
नमस्ते साउजी
नमस्ते
धारा तोरीको तेल पाउ न
यो लिनुहोस्
होइन मलाई धारा तोरीको तेल नै चाहिन्छ
सस्तो पनि छ
धारा तोरीको तेल प्राकृतिक राख भएको विश्वासिलो गुणस्तरीय अनि राम्रो नो कम्प्रोमाइज विथ धारा साउजी
विजयजी बडो स्मार्ट हुनुहुँदो रहेछ क्वालिटी हेर्नु हुँदो रहेछ मूल्य होइन
साउजी मलाई पनि धारा तेल दिनुस् न
मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
Fans, please remain standing for the national anthem of the United States of America.
news?
We have two changes. Karan Casey and Sagar Dakal are out, and in place of them, Kushal Malla and Lalit Rajbansi are in.
Rohit, best of luck tonight. Thanks for talking to me. Okay, that's the news from the middle. In keeping with the theme of this tournament, USA have won the toss. They're going to have a bat first.
Innovation from Andrew Leonard shows the scoop for the bat. And we'll get to see what USA is going to put out there. We heard about the change that they made. Janoy Drysdale come in as Ali Khan goes.
Ali Khan, with his injury history, and again, he's coming off an injury, returning to health for this series. He's somebody who rarely plays back-to-back days, and so it's not surprising to see him sit out today in favor of Janoy Drysdale. Janoy Drysdale on the bottom right, he's the only change for USA. Coming off an injury, returning to health for this series. He's somebody who rarely plays back-to-back days, and so it's not surprising to see him sit out today in favor of Janoy Drysdale. Janoy Drysdale on the bottom right, he's the only change for USA. Ali Khan sitting out.
And for Nepal, we heard about it as well. Two changes that they make to their side. Saj Dakal misses out. Alongside KC and Kushal Malla, we've talked about him a lot, comes into the side today, Peter.
He brings an extra left-handed bat, a power-hitting left-handed bat as well for Nepal, in addition to bowling left-arm spin. So they've got...
क्रिकेट की दुनिया में सिर्फ दो ही गब्बर ऑन फील्ड, तुम्हें पता है, ऑफ द फील्ड क्रेक्स.
Got so continuing to open the batting and with the ball in hand for Nepal. It'll be the same formula as Dakal gets it. So we'll see what he's got in the camp here. Left arm seam to start things off to Monak Patel. Starts off very nicely. Good movement back in, and this will be an interesting thing to watch, Peter, because a lot of people have questioned Monak Patel up top of the order, hasn't found the runs so far this series, and now he's got an opportunity. It feels like a make or break situation with how well Khaus and Mukamal are playing at the moment.
Well, that's the issue. It's not that Monak is batting out of position. His preferred role is as an opener. He opened the batting at the start of the T20 World Cup. Him and Stephen Taylor were the preferred opening combination for USA. They had had a lot of success, but with the injuries that he's had recently, Simon Kamal and Andres House have created an incredible opening partnership.
Good stuff here from Rijan Dakal to start, direct hit. But I think Monak Patel is quick enough. But it's Depinder Singh Airi, who's already 2 balls in, and he's already affecting the game, Peter. Can't keep him out.
Stick of dynamite. Dynamite Singh Airi. Usually he waits a little bit longer towards the end of the match before he lights the fuse and gets tossed into the fray. But right off the bat, the fuse has been lit early on. Can he keep it flowing for the course of 40 overs?
Well, if 2 days have told me anything, it's a yes, he can. But Monak Patel nearly had a calamity of errors, because if he would have gone for a duck, it would have done his confidence a world of bad. And now you see it. Mukamala, who had a good day yesterday, just missed out on his 50. He'll look to capitalize on another opportunity up top of the order. The young man has come into international cricket and has taken to T20 cricket in particular as of this year. And just worked to third man. A little bit of extra bounce on that time for Dakal.
Sai Mukamala, youngster out of New Jersey, born and raised. This is his 10th T20I for USA. 263 runs at an average of 32.88 and a best of 85. He's got a strike rate of 139, which is very impressive. We talked about it yesterday on the broadcast, considering his reputation in the early years of his career as not a big hitter of the ball. But he's somebody who's very busy. You can see that. He doesn't like to leave balls, block dot balls. He's not going to slog, but he likes to feel bad on ball. He doesn't like to waste deliveries. And so he's somebody who's vulnerable early on when he hasn't gotten his iron yet, because he's not going to leave that ball on a 5th or 6th stump line. He's going to keep playing at it. And you see this is the perfect line. Perfect delivery from Rijan Dakal at this stage of the match to Mukamala on that 5th stump line, because he knows Sai Mukamala is going to go fishing for it. He wants to feel bad on ball.
We'll get off the mark here. Again, a run to Depinder Singh Airi. And yeah, like you mentioned, Rijan Dakal, he's really come into his own so far in this series. He's been very good early on in the inning. He's bowled later parts where we've seen more swing, but you already see a vast difference from how USA starts, where you didn't see Netravalkar get as much movement sideways as you're seeing off the ball of Rijan Dakal.
Yeah, not blinding pace, but he's been very clever, very efficient with the new ball. And again, as we've seen around world cricket, when you've got a left-arm seamer, the angle that they create causes a lot of problems.
Monik Patel, he gets his first runs with the new bat that he was brought on by the sub Utkar Srivastava. 1 over gone, 3 without loss.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई-सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ. Starting from just ₹760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the e-Sewa app and secure your future today.
Early morning hours of Monday morning, and ICC TV around the world. We got viewers everywhere. Aman, is the fact that after this third T20I, these teams are going to play a tri-series with Scotland.
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ. अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ. ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो.
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो, सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट. नगद छोडौं, फोन पे गरौं.
Sunset in these day-night matches, and the USA would just hope for more runs and less wickets in these day-night matches as well.
One of my favorite things to do here when I'm not doing commentary, I do some photography as well, and I love camping out on the east side of the stadium around this time so you can get the racetrack, the spires from the racetrack with the sun setting to the west. It's one of the most beautiful views in cricket anywhere in America. And the fans got a taste of that with that beautiful drone shot.
Rijan Dakal to continue. Full and wide. Andres Kels will just get the one. And a lot has been put on this partnership in particular. We've talked about how they are the opening partnership from the last tour, and they've had a lot of success, but it's almost felt like USA's success has been dependent on one of these two, if not both, finding a big total.
When they came together, a lot of people were wondering how they would adjust and how much would USA miss Stephen Taylor and Monik Patel, because again, the start of the World Cup, that was the opening partnership, Taylor and Monik. And Taylor had been a fixture for USA at the top of the order for 15 years.
Outside edge, away from the fielders. Saiteja Mukamala is not going to sit around. He likes to look for strokes, and he's finding them so far. Another 4 runs.
We talked about it in the first over. Again, Sai Mukamala likes to feel bad on ball. He's going to play shots. He's going to play away from his body early before he's gotten his eye in. This is the channel that Rijan Dakal wants to bowl. Angles it in towards off stump, middle and off stump, and Mukamala steps away to create a little bit of room trying to access the offside. Doesn't get it out of the middle, but gets away with it.
One thing here for Rijan Dakal, as I get that quick single away, is we saw Mukamala do something similar last night where he stepped outside his stumps and he played one on stumps through maybe a backward point region for 4 runs, and that started the spraying of Rijan Dakal where he just pushed it out too wide, then got too straight. He's going to want to keep his wits about him here, and in the second over continue to find that channel.
Again, Rijan Dakal, he's a bowler that USA probably feels they can target.
That's skied straight up. Nepal is underneath it, and that man's never going to put it down. Depinder Singh Ari gets the crowd roaring, and Rijan Dakal strikes.
Well, I said he's a guy that USA probably feels they can target because they've had so many issues against Sampal Kami. They've had so many issues against Karan KC, the main pacers for Nepal, and they probably thought to themselves, we're going to try and see off Sampal Kami. If we're going to take chances, it's going to be against Rijan Dakal. They try to take that aggressive approach, and it backfires. And, of course, number 45 in Nepal, he's got magnets on his jersey. Depinder Singh Ari, the ball is falling everywhere this weekend. Andres House out for 2. It's 18 for 2 in the third.
फोन पे चल्छ है चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस् अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं
DPL, where he was the star in that final match, but that form hasn't seemed to carry over quite yet here in Dallas. We know he can turn it on, but he'll have to do so tonight if the USA want any chance of winning. They're already 2 down in over number 3, having lost the man that scored his 6th T20 half century last night in Andres House.
Well, the leadership for USA on field has struggled throughout the series. Manak Patel scores a 5-3-1, 9 runs in the series. Aaron Jones hasn't been much better, 3-7, although he got a dreadful LBW decision yesterday.
Get off the mark there, a little bit of inward movement. They're going to push for 2. This is a good running from the USA. They would have been out, actually. It's the shorter side of the ground they were running to. And I reckon it would have been gone for all money. Saiteja Mukamala going back to the non-striker's end.
Anil Saab, the fielder on the leg side boundary. Again, it's very tough to score 2s on the west side of the ground because that's the short boundary. Uneven boundaries, 64 yards on one side, 82 on the other. That's the 64-yard boundary he was throwing from. So it's always dicey going for 2, and he was going to be a yard short if the collection could have been taken cleanly behind the stumps.
That's one phase of the game. Nepal have clearly bested the USA in the running between the wickets, picking the right side to run 2s and run 1s. Clipped again into the leg side. Aaron Jones pushing hard, but will just be the one. The third over goes. Rijan Dakal took the big wicket of Andres House, and the USA are reeling. It's 21 for 2.
2, 5, go!
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
USA, what do you think that would do to their confidence heading into that League 2?
A huge amount, because their form has been quite patchy. They really struggled in the ODIs up in Canada, and to be able to go into the 50-over matches in this tour with 3 wins would be huge for their confidence.
Picked up in the gap, work to be done, and does extraordinarily well. That's brilliant from Kushal Bartel out in the deep. Aaron Jones thought he picked up his first boundary, but again, the fielding from Nepal all series long has been a touch above the rest.
Not just the fielding, but the mentality. The way they're engaged is completely different to USA. Aaron Jones was walking the first here because he's convinced this is going to be 4. And yet, Kushal Bartel, he's running from left to right along the boundary like there's no tomorrow. Saves 2 runs. If they had run properly, they probably could have gotten 3 on that. But because Jones was admiring that shot, they had to settle for 2. And that's been a big difference between the two sides in the series. Nepal has looked far more aggressive, far more engaged. Their tactics have been better, especially on the boundaries. That's been a big difference between the two sides. Nepal has, both at bat and in the field, been able to capitalize on the boundary discrepancy, whereas USA has really struggled with that.
Aaron Jones has been trapped there for 2 dot balls. Yeah, you're right, Peter. It's just you've seen that Nepal have this certain hunger about them, whether it is in the middle or out on the boundary. They're chasing after the deliveries, and Aaron Jones here has made it very clear he's going to step across to try to access the leg side. He's looking for those pockets to run to, but he's got to be very careful with Sompokama. We've already seen it from Monik Patel. Stepping across was undone because he just couldn't get the bat back down. If Gami gets straighter, I reckon he should, just a little bit straighter, a little fuller, it could be curtains on Aaron Jones here in this series. Stays back of a length, and Jones will get 1. How important do you think it is for Aaron Jones to find runs, again, headed in to League 2, but also since really the start of that World Cup, his international spell has kind of gone a little dry?
Had that great set of matches in Dallas here in Grand Prairie, where he had that 94 not out against Canada, that famous night on the opening night of the T20 World Cup, and then followed it up one match later with another memorable performance against Pakistan, 36 not out, and then scoring even more runs in the super over. But since then, as another direct hit, Rohit Paudel draws more roars from the crowd. They're loving all of this, all the Nepal fans who've shown up here in the greater Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Everywhere you drive around this area, you go to Irving, you go to Arlington, you go to Dallas, you go to Grand Prairie, there's Nepalese restaurants everywhere. They're loving this. They're loving it. The ball connecting with the stumps. They're loving Rohit Paudel. They're loving Dipendra Singh Irie. Rohit, big fan favorite here, and why not? Because he's led this team to a 2-0 lead heading into this match.
That's the one we were talking about, full and straight. But no shout from Sompokami. And stifled appeals from Nepal, but the crowd loving it. Just the 4 runs from the over. USA still haven't been able to find any real momentum. 4 gone, 25 for 2.
No, senor. Picture, please. Picture coming. Picture.
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Momo Mia.
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
Hit me in the same spot and you triggered me. You sent me on my way. What's going on, Vijay Malala?
Well, I think the difference is you saw Monik Patel step across his stumps. Aaron Jones was very straight on to leg stump. His foot was stationed there, while Monik Patel was closer to middle and off. Rijal Dakel to continue. Just Mukamala will find runs. We'll push for a couple. They're going to turn back for a third. This could be trouble. Oh, better throw. Better throw might have been the 3rd wicket for USA.
But again, that is the long boundary over there. That's 82 yards on that side of the ground. So better recognition, kind of recognition perhaps we haven't seen throughout the first 2 matches for USA, running very hard as soon as the ball came off the bat, knowing that the possibility for a third was on there. You talked about Aaron Jones, his dry spell since those 2 not outs to start the T20 World Cup in Dallas. 11 against India, duck against South Africa, 11 against the West Indies, 10 against England. And basically all 4 of those innings, he was out playing the same shot that he had so much success against Canada, that slog sweep.
That's chipped, but chipped just safely from Aaron Jones, undone by the change in length from Rijal Dakel. And you mentioned those matches, but even in Major League, didn't find much success in that tournament, given a 1-down spot for an Orcas team that you felt probably had their domestics lined up. They went with the hot hand, and he went cold almost immediately.
Yeah, he continued to struggle coming off the end of the World Cup where he had 32 runs in the last 4 innings. He only played a couple of matches for the Orcas before going to the bench, and it's that kind of tentativeness that has kind of crept back into his game. The lack of runs kind of denting his confidence a little bit. And then his most recent T20 Is for USA, 34 in the Netherlands, in Utrecht. As these two pinch a quick single in the ring. 5 against Canada in Den Haag, and then 13 against the Netherlands in Den Haag to wrap up that tour. And then obviously he was with the St. Lucia Kings in the CPL, didn't go to Namibia in USA's last international tour, and he was with not many runs, partly because he just wasn't getting a chance to bat. He had a lot of thanks for Cummins, did not bat, was what was next to his name on the scoreline for a good chunk of the early matches of the season. It wasn't until the final when he scored that 48 not out, and he got the pep talk at the drinks break from Darren Sammy to wake him up, because he was 10 off 19 balls to start that innings before he caught fire. He caught fire there, but coming back to Dallas where he had so much success in the World Cup, as you said, he's gone cold. 3-7 in the 2 matches against Nepal coming into this innings.
He's a very fine player, and he would have liked to seen that previous shot go to the boundary, but again, it's the fielding from Nepal that's choked down the USA. And the brilliant bowling from Dakel as well. He's changed the angle. He's come around the wicket to keep everything angling on to stumps, and is almost daring Aaron Jones to heave him in to the onside. We've seen it time and time again where he'll take that shot and try to play the slog sweep, and oftentimes that becomes his undoing.
Well, I said they didn't want to target Sompel Kami. They were going to target Rijan Dakel, but after seeing what happened to Andres House, I think USA has taken the approach that they're just going to see off both of these medium pacers and hopefully take their chances against the spinners.
Again, just work to the fielder, nowhere to go for Aaron Jones, and just the 5 runs for the Americans in the 5th over. It's 30 for 2.
Ordinary soap dries itself over time, so imagine what it can do to your skin. But Dove is different. Dove contains 1/4 moisturizing cream, richly blended with mild cleansers, making it softer and more radiant. Get your radiance with Dove.
पैसा पठाऊ ठाउँको ठाउँ फोन पे डिरेक्ट नगद छोडाऊ फोन पे गरौ.
So far today, but you haven't seen Aaron Jones be able to get away, and it's not for a lack of trying. We've seen him try to use his feet to create room. We've seen him play those shots to the offside, but the fielding has been so good, it's so attentive, that they just haven't allowed the USA batters to get away. The new man to come to bowl is Ladith Rajbanshi. First time we'll see him in this tour, and the Americans, how do they play the spin now, the left arm spin from Nepal? Mukamala goes to a spot of liking, loves to play that shot over extra cover, and does it to perfection. 1 bounce over the rope for 4.
Well, Sai Mukamala, he's got 2 shots that you can count on him to play very well. One is that lofted extra cover drive, and another is that front foot pull shot that he does so well. That one overpitched in the slot, and again, he's not going to hesitate. He likes to go in the air. He's not going to try and keep the ball on the ground if he feels the shot is there.
This time off the back foot, but straight to backward point. And for Mukamala, again, a lot will be on his shoulders. He's the in-form bat on this USA lineup at the moment. We've talked about there's depth all the way down to Harmeet Singh, but been really a dry spell for a lot of the middle order of USA. So a lot will rest on him, and Nepal almost sensed that moment, sensing that Mukamala's wicket's big, and that's why I think Rohit Baldwin's gone to his left-arm spinner.
And he's somebody who, for a player who's grown up and played almost all of his cricket in New Jersey and developing it on artificial wickets in New Jersey, it's extraordinary how positive he is against spin in particular. He's an excellent player of spin, which is unusual just purely due to the fact that he hasn't had a whole lot of developmental experience on turf wickets, but he's very comfortable against spin bowling.
Aaron Jones would sneak away a leg by. Has to be quick, but you mentioned Mukamala and how he's kind of expressing himself. Aaron Jones seems to have found himself back into a shell, hasn't he? Doesn't seem very comfortable. We've seen the tentative strokes already. That one, again, was drifting down the leg side and almost a nervous prod at the ball, Peter.
Well, and that right there, again, highlights the difference that you're talking about. Mukamala, ball is there to hit. A very confident stroke. Just straight down the ground. Collect the single. Whereas Aaron Jones, yeah, at times on a similar ball early in his innings, we've seen him get a forward stride in, but rather than stroke it down to the ground, it's just a block. He's just trying to blunt it because he still is in a place where he is another guy who wants to feel bad on ball, but for Aaron Jones, feeling bad on ball, you see him much more frequently feel bad on ball by just getting a stride in and just blocking it. He just wants to feel it out in the middle, and he's just going to smother it until he feels he's gotten his eye in, and then he plays more shots. Sai Mukamala, again, not a slogger, but he'll play a lot more shots early in his innings. And that's what I'm talking about. But good running between the wickets by Jones. Again, much more positive from him. He wasn't trying to stroke that, but plays it with soft enough hands to collect the single to end the over. USA 38 for 2 at the end of the power play.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
Plenty of spin options for Nepal today. Kusharmala in the side. Bertel gives you some spin. We've seen Airi already this series. The captain Rohit Paudo can come in and bowl some off spin as well. So for the USA, they're going to have to decide how they want to attack and who they're going to target, because it hasn't seemed like they wanted to go after Rajbanshi, and now that the power play is over, how can they keep the runs flowing? See more pace on the ball. It's a man who, again, he's been in the team this entire series, but hasn't bowled. Arif Sheikh gets the ball. He's predominantly one of those ODI bowlers that's handy. A couple overs here and there, but he's given an opportunity now in the 7th. Nicely driven. Should just be a couple of runs. Actually run away to the boundary. Well done from Aaron Jones. He's just timed that to perfection. And that's the kind of stroke that Aaron Jones will like to get into as he starts to expand his innings.
Well, it's brother to brother, bowler to wicketkeeper. That was not brotherly love from Aaron Jones. He's making up for the runs he didn't get on his birthday yesterday. Not much protection on that boundary, even though we're outside the power play.
Better length that time from Arif Sheikh, and this could be the over for Aaron Jones. Again, Sheikh isn't someone who moves the ball quite a bit, doesn't have a lot of the variations, but what he is very accurate. He's able to bowl a good line and length, but for Aaron Jones, when the ball's been swinging, there's a little bit of drift. I think he won't mind someone who's accurate, but you have time to play and you're not worried about the sideways movement off the surface. Picked up from Mukamala, and that's all the way. That's gone past the seats here, and it's hit the MLC cricket ball out in the deep. How about this from Mukamala? Got the short one and did it the service.
Well, I said earlier, he's got two trademark shots. One is that extra cover loft to drive. The other is the front foot pull. His footwork looks gnarly here. He almost gets into a little bit of a tangle, but that's a very comfortable shot for him. That front foot pull, he's a positive guy. He gets onto the front foot, and if it's short, he doesn't rock back. He just continues with that front foot pull. I don't know if I can think of a player who plays that shot in international cricket. Ricky Ponting used to play the pull shot, but he didn't play it like that. I don't know what Sai's doing there, but whatever it is, it's effective.
Yeah, shades of Surya Kumar Yadav, isn't it? Just almost using the angle, the pace of the ball. With aerial and away from the fielder. The experiment to go with Arif Sheikh hasn't worked in the favor of Nepal, and the USA capitalizing on this over.
Well, this is a bad overcorrection from Arif Sheikh. He went too short on the body. He got pulled for 6. Now he goes short and wide, overcorrecting outside off stump, and there's no protection out there. He's got a deep square leg, a deep mid-wicket, a long on, a long off, and a very wide cover sweeper. There's nobody behind square on the boundary. That's an automatic 4 if Mukamala can get it over the infield, and he does so very effectively there.
Better that from Arif Sheikh. You see a slight bit of inward movement, but Peter, interesting decision. Again, you have USA under pressure. I understand you're trying to prepare Sheikh for the ODIs to come where he probably will bowl, but do you like him bowling that first over after the power play?
I thought they were going to go twin spin, but again, the reason why he's bowling, no Karen KC tonight. They've rested him.
3 boundaries in the over. The USA needed this. 14 from over number 7, and it's 54 for 2.
Hey, phone पे चल्छ है
चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस्
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डिरेक्ट नगद छोडौँ फोन पे गरौँ
Overs have come and gone. 54 for 2 of the USA, and Peter De La Pena has departed from the complex as Andrew Leonard joins me. Lalita Banti for the second. Lenny, you surprised that we saw Arif Sheikh in that previous over?
Well, staggered, to be honest. The conditions here compared to King City, you probably won't get 2 more disparate ones. They are at the opposite ends of the spectrum. Difficult run scoring, very tough outfield there, up just north of Toronto. That's where Nepal were playing against Canada and Oman. As Jones goes inside out towards Dakal, who takes the catch. Never quite looked settled, did he? And a good move getting Rajbanshi back into the 11. And just as a partnership was building, Nepal strike back.
Couldn't have this if you're the USA. Try to make some room for himself outside the off stump, but Rajbanshi follows him. He's unable to really get underneath it, and that's the short side of the ground. Aaron Jones carries so much power in that bat, but this was just sliced up, and Nepal was never going to put that down. He goes for just 13 runs, and it's 55 for 3 now for the USA.
Ready? 1, 2, 5, go!
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
In comes Milan Kumar to the crease. He's at number 5. Big wicket, big breakthrough for Nepal. Great piece of fielding from Arif Sheikh, who's just been probably hit out of the attack. You sense that they needed that breakthrough, didn't they? Because that was a good partnership building between Jones and Mukamala.
Yeah, they just felt that they finally got some momentum following that Arif Sheikh over. And for the first delivery of the next over to be that, just eases everything for Nepal here.
I spoke quite a lot last night about how little spin Nepal had bowled. Rohit Paudel will counter it and say, well, it worked out. We managed to pull it out of the fire. Has it surprised you across the course of the series? So we just get a look at Andrew's house, Aaron Jones, and Stuart Law, who's on the right next to Orville Hall, the team manager for this tour. Fair to say, not too happy over there in the American team dugout.
Yeah, again, you win the toss, you choose to bat first, you're hoping to find runs, and I think the disappointing thing is that this team is not very different from the team that was at the World Cup just a couple of months ago. You're missing Corey Anderson, but other than that, everyone was there. Even Milind Kumar was part of the squad. And you're just thinking that you should find more success. There should be more consistency amongst this batting group, and yet they haven't been able to use the success of the World Cup to their advantage.
Arm ball to finish with from Rajbanshi, flatter through the air, nearly chops Mukamala in half. It's a wicket taking over, 58 for 3. Got to talk about
3, 1, 2, 5, go!
Bye-bye.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
I think it's just the approach that they want to take. Monik Patel, I think, is confused on how he wants to play his T20 game. He had great success in May and April in those early T20 series there where he was very aggressive, looking to score. And then with Aaron Jones, he's almost been a victim of his own success. He had such success playing that slog sweep, getting down, trying to heave it in to the leg side, that the month following that, that's the shot he tried to play and got out to most of the time, clean bowled, as Gulshan Jha runs into the attack.
It's very rare I'd get a number right on American cricket that Peter Delapena would get wrong. 6 runs in his 3 innings thus far for Monik Patel, the captain. Might argue he got a rough decision tonight. Aaron Jones certainly got a rough decision last night. But it just looks like they're 2 players who are trying to force things or maybe play outside their natural game.
Yeah, they are. Again, Aaron Jones, he almost feels unwilling to play the shot that he loves to play. Again, he's such a good slog sweeper. But he's gotten away from it because, again, the month following the World Cup in July, Major League Cricket, he was given an opportunity with the Seattle Orcas, and he couldn't find runs, and oftentimes trying to play the big slog sweep, probably playing too high up the order at number 3 when the ball was swinging around. And again, for Monik Patel, more predominantly an ODI cricketer, a very prolific ODI cricketer, but he's just unable to find those sense of understanding of how he wants to play this cricket that we see from Andres Gels and Saiteji Mukamala, where they can balance their innings quite well.
Arif Sheikh does the work at backward point. What's the approach here for these two? Will they be aware that there's a bit of a soft underbelly to what I would say is the lower middle order? Harmeet Singh is not in good form with the bat. We know how good he can be, but he hasn't been making runs of late. And then you're really into the bowlers after that from number 8 onwards.
Here you are, and without Ali Khan, you lose that big hit. It's Shanoy Drysdale that's come in for him. And so a lot of it will rely on Mukamala, Kumar, and of course Shayan Jahangir, who's right after. So they want to be, you can see the approach already. They're looking to be a little bit more conservative, just try to build a partnership, get to over number 15 before you really see those real signs of aggression. Again, a lot of this will rest on Mukamala, but you're going to see this partnership slowly start to build things together.
I do think, though, there's awareness of both of these batters that there isn't a huge amount to come after Shayan Jahangir. He's the last recognised batter. Interestingly, the USA team manager, Royal Hall, has given us the predicted team batting order, and they're saying Jesse Singh is going to bat at number 7, not Harmeet. Obviously don't have to hold them to that as they'll scamper another quick single, but that's a very long tail, isn't it? Jesse Singh, Nosh Kenjige, they're both capable batters, but they're really in the team for their bowling without doubt.
Yeah, in the team for their bowling. They're handy batters. They can get you the run here or there, maybe the odd boundary, but if you want to set a big total, a lot of it relies on that top order. And again, I think Harmeet Singh, you lose so much. Without him finding that true run of form, you're just without an all-rounder on the side. That's what Corey Anderson did for this team. That's what Harmeet Singh is meant to do for this team, but not in good run of form. And it hurts even more when 2 of your top order haven't found any runs this tournament.
Looking forward to seeing Drysdale bowl. That being said, as this is again straight to the fielder, Gulshan Jha And he's been mighty economical every time he's bowled, and he starts nicely. Just 4 runs from his first over. 9 have been bowled. It's 62 for 3.
नमस्ते भारत तोरीको तेल पाउ न यो लिनुस् नयाँ आएको सस्तो पनि छ प्राकृतिक राख भएको विश्वासिलो गुणस्तरीय अनि राम्रो नो कम्प्रोमाइज विथ धारा साउजी विजयजी बडो स्मार्ट हुनुहुँदो रहेछ क्वालिटी हेर्नु हुँदो रहेछ मूल्य होइन मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
Cow corner, and it's caused those 3 early wickets that USA couldn't afford.
Well, I think this is one man that an awful lot of Nepal fans will be delighted to see back into the team. Neither you or I could understand why he wasn't playing in the first 2 games, particularly yesterday's match, with the need for another left-hander in the lineup. And this is the other handy little trait that he has. He can bowl some left-arm spin too. It looks pretty innocuous, but it tends to be quite effective. Here's Kushal Malla. He's a very canny bowler, isn't he? He doesn't turn the ball a huge amount. He looks like someone as he approaches the crease who may never have bowled before. But actually, he's very clever and he changes his pace. He watches the batter intently. Look at how late he'll adjust his line and length.
So the reason why he's found so many wickets, again, he has an average of 20, a strike rate of 19.5. He always seems to be amongst those wickets, and he's in a T20 format. He's just a handy guy that changes the flow of the game for certain batters. Smart to bring him in early in the partnership.
It's not a good delivery though. It's a drag down, and really good use of the crease from Milan Kumar, who's known as a good player of spin, to get it a long way behind square, and he'll get 4.
Yeah, this will be the battle. Kushal Malla again, handy with the spin, but Milan Kumar has made a name for himself as a great player of spin. Look how far back he gets in his crease, very deep, gets onto the back foot, and he sets himself up to play that very square. There's a fielder at mid-wicket, but very safe once you get it to that backward square leg area.
Yeah, just a bit of a drag down. Hasn't bowled, of course, yet. It's his first appearance. This time he's going to get away with it again, not the right line. Dipender Singh Airi's lack of use in this series has bemused me. And that's just from a guy who's probably in the contender as being the player of the series with his contributions when he has been allowed to bat and bowl. He only bowled 1 over yesterday. Why was that?
Yeah, I'm not sure as to why. Again, not many left-handers, but he took wickets in match number 1. His 3 wickets kind of changed, his 2 wickets kind of changed the outlook of the game. And again, it worked for Nepal, but it almost felt that yesterday they were just valuing, just keep the runs to a minimum. We don't want to give up anything, but the 1 over he did bowl, he took a wicket in it. So it has been confusing to see why Airi hasn't been given the ball. But I expect to see him more often today, just because you have a couple more spinners. It seems like they're going to use the spin options more often, especially with Arif Sheikh not having a great start to his day.
I was really surprised to see Sheikh have a bowl. Not something I had on my Stake Stars and Summit Trophy 3rd T20 bingo card. It wasn't going to be hit by Arif Sheikh having a ball. I was actually surprised he retained his place. I thought that they might have had a look at Dev Canal, try and lengthen the batting a little bit, but they would just be so pleased with Kushal Bertel's return to form. As Malla is going to bowl a 9-run over to start with. That'll get us to the drinks break. It's one of the first drinks breaks we've got to without a wicket precipitating it. So it means that the 10th over, for the first time in a while, comes without a wicket. We'll take a break here too in the commentary box. Maybe honours even here. The 3rd T20 it hangs in the balance. USA, having won the toss and elected to bat first, they are 71 for 3.
जितौं 10 लाखको उपहार यसपालिको चाडबाडमा स्क्रैच कार्ड मार्फत जित्नुहोस् 10 लाखसम्मको नगद उपहार साथै चुज योर स्किमबाट छान्नुहोस् रु 10,000 सम्मको थप स्क्रैच कार्ड वा 12,500 बराबरको 5 वर्ष एएमसी प्याकेज वा 7 वर्षसम्म बाइ वन गेट वन सर्भिसिङ फ्री अनि बिग बाइक्समा 1 लाखसम्मको डिस्काउन्ट र यो स्किम होन्डा इजी फाइनान्समा पनि लागू हुनेछ।
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु।
Is Dove really different from soap? Ordinary soap dries itself over time. So imagine what it can do to your skin. But Dove is different. Dove contains 1/4 moisturizing cream, richly blended with mild cleansers, making it softer and more radiant. Get your radiance with Dove.
तपाईको कपालमा कसको हुकुम चल्छ स्प्लिट एन्ड्सको जिप या हेयर फलको फैसला हेयर प्रब्लम्स मतलब हेयर ड्यामेज डभको 1/4 मोइस्चराइजिङ मिल्क र केराटिन एक्टिभ्सले कपाललाई भित्रैदेखि रिपेयर गर्छ अब सुन्दर लहलहाउँदो कपाल जसमा चल्छ केवल तपाईको मर्जी डभ तपाईको कपालमा कसको हुकुम चल्छ स्प्लिट एन्ड्सको जिप या हेयर फलको फैसला हेयर प्रब्लम्स मतलब हेयर ड्यामेज डभको 1/4 मोइस्चराइजिङ मिल्क र केराटिन एक्टिभ्सले कपाललाई भित्रैदेखि रिपेयर गर्छ अब सुन्दर लहलहाउँदो कपाल जसमा चल्छ केवल तपाईको मर्जी डभ
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
पैसा पठाऊ ठाउँको ठाउँ फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडाऊ फोन पे गरौ
गाडी गाडी पेट दुख्छ फेरि तितो औषधि
तितो औषधिबाट बच्नु छ भने लाइफ बोय स्ट्रङ लिनु आउने गर्ने हातबाट कीटाणु मुखमा खुरु खुरु दब हुन्छ सबै रोग सुरु
त्यसैले लाइफ बोय स्ट्रङ यसले दिन्छ कीटाणुहरूबाट 100% स्ट्रङ सुरक्षा
जम्सबाट बच्न अब पाउनुहोस् 100 ग्रामको लाइफ बोय साबुन मात्र रु 45 मा
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
But Saiteja Mukamala continues to be the mainstay. What a fantastic start he's had to his international career. And a local home-produced cricketer, 20 years of age, kind of almost upstaging the bigger names in many ways.
Yeah, it's good to see. Again, you want to see some of the local guys continue to make trends forward, and I think he serves as an inspiration to a lot of the guys coming up. And Utkarsh Srivastava, who's part of the squad for USA, he's just getting to that 19 years old phase, but he would have looked up to Mukamala, and he's following in similar footsteps here.
Yeah, and I love to see youth shine, and it's something that I suppose you think back to the last series prior to this year that USA kind of hosted a high-profile series. That was against Ireland in Lauderhill down in Florida, and you think about some of the kids that were kind of coming through that, Yasser Mohammed, Vatsal Vaghela. There was just a kind of a real anticipation that the next generation was coming through. Probably with the exception of Mukamala, haven't had quite the scale of opportunities that they would have liked. We've seen Rahul Jarawala named as the captain of the A team that will play midweek. There's a good boot from Gulshan Jah, is probably going to save 3 runs. Let's hope there's no damage done. Is there a kind of feeling in the American cricket community that the youngsters should be getting more opportunities, or do they understand that they have to try and get their best team on the park all the time in USA?
Yeah, I think the hope for the USA team is to have the best 11 out there at all times. And speaking of young talent, this is brilliantly done by Gulshan Jah. Definitely 4 runs. It's almost caromed off and nearly gone back to stumps, so something to watch for. But I think everyone knows that they want the best 11 out there, but I think they're happy to see Mukamala get those opportunities. I think they would like to see Yasser Mohammed get in the mix a little bit more often and see a little bit more of those guys. Rithik Behera was part of that series as well, hasn't come back to colors. Vatsal Vaghela really had a couple tours after that. Sanjay Krishnamurthy hasn't been back. I think he's the one that people are asking, would he not be in your best 11 right now just with the Major League he had?
He was brilliant in Major League Cricket, wasn't he?
He was great on this ground, had a 70 to beat the Washington Freedom, the eventual champions, chasing a total, batting at 3 or 4 throughout the tournament. Didn't really have a bowl, but is another one of those left-arm spinners you can operate with. And there's a lot of those young cricketers that are starting to come up. We've seen Ayan Desai get an opportunity to debut. Abhishek Butterkar is part of this side. So you're starting to see the youth continue to influx, with some notable exceptions. But again, I think the best thing for USA is to put the best 11 out there on the field.
Well, fielded again by Bertel down at long on. We've spoken a lot about the batting options, but what about the fast bowling options? With the exception of Ali Khan, who I think clearly USA are saying they can't play him 2 days in a row because he's obviously had some injury problems. There's a lack of pace in this American 11. Brody Couch, someone like Cameron Stevenson, where are those kind of guys?
Yeah, you'd imagine they would have to be on the next in, right? The Brody Couches, the Cameron Stevens, the Cornet Dries of the world who has become eligible. Again, we've mentioned Ayan Desai. Rushil Agarkar had a great major league. He's someone who's really bright and upcoming in the USA scene. So, again, a lot to lay out for, and I think plenty of improvement to come for the USA. 11 gone at 76 for 3.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
Colorado. Now, his wife's in Denmark on a work trip, and even I was nudging in to the frame. Arif Sheikh was in high school with Jay Lamachani. That's the lovely small connection that Nepal has, even though it's a country of 30 plus million people. And we heard from him in the pre-game show. You might not have seen it, but the Nepal players, they are the most wonderful ambassadors, I have to say, and they were happy to give up their time. Asif and Arif, and then Lalit Rajbanshi, who's got the ball in his hand here. I know you had a chat to him. How inspirational a story was that?
Oh, he's just so passionate. I think that's the brilliant thing about it. He was just so willing, and the desire to want to follow the team and love that he showed for Nepali cricket. And he also talked about wanting a visually impaired USA cricket team. He wants to be able to play cricket on American soil.
This one's hit into the leg side. Bertel's going to have to go a long way to get there, but he does really well. And it's Kushal Malla who goes with him and affects the direct hit that nearly costs a third. His passion and his knowledge for the game as well, Ahmad, incredible. He seemed to know everything about Peter de la Pena, every tweet that he's ever sent. He was incredibly complimentary about your commentary, and I think something, I spent a lot of time with him yesterday. He's flown in for both of the games on the weekend and again today. Something we might forget about sometimes here in the box. We're very lucky to be able to call the game, that some people might not be able to actually see it. And our descriptions actually almost providing the pictures for Jay. So been an honour and a pleasure to meet him today, and our thanks to the Nepal team for coming over and spending some time with him before the start of the game.
Yeah, this is what sport's all about, isn't it? There's just nowhere else does this kind of happen, where you see all these communities start to converge and you get to affect people in different ways. And he's affecting us, I think, as much as we affect his viewing experience. And again, so great to hear from him and just have a chat with this guy who's just so clearly so passionate about cricket.
He's also told me that his wife's going to be incredibly jealous that he got to be on global television, interviewed. He did a good job as well, I'll tell you, for someone who might never have been on TV before. But he's coming back next week for the ODIs, and he's going to fly in with his wife. So we'll look forward to seeing them there again. Just one of the story of the thousands of Nepalese origin fans that have visited us here. And they have really made for a spectacular atmosphere. It's the inaugural edition of this Stake Stars and Summits trophy. Do you think it's going to be something that we might see on an annual basis, maybe every 2 years? Could it be brought back to Nepal even?
I hope so. Again, we've seen the Nepali crowd come out here, even the USA fans. I saw Gopak Joe Phil was here the other night, and so you're seeing the fan bases start to rally around it, and there's certainly rivalry involved. So it would be awesome to see it get back to Kathmandu, maybe get into Nepal with those crowds, and obviously bring it back here to the Grand Prairie Stadium. 12 overs have come and gone. It's 83 for 3.
दाइ फोन पे चल्छ है
चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस्
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं.
So, still no signs of Dipendra Singh Airi, and still no signs of Kushal Bertel. Certainly Rohit Paudel seems to be reading this pitch and maybe the strength of his bowling attack a little bit differently to the way I see it. He's going to continue to go with Gulshan Jha. He bowled all 4 overs consecutively last night, didn't he, in the middle overs, almost performing that Liam Plunkett kind of enforcer role. Is there a reason why he's just choosing not to go with his spinners too often?
I wish I could tell you, Lenny. I wish I could get inside his head, but the way I kind of see the way he's using his options now, these are options that he'll use in the ODI series. Lalit Rajbanshi is going to get overs. You're going to see the fact that Arif Sheikh is going to bowl a couple of overs in this stadium. Gulshan Jha will also bowl. So he's just, it seems like, readying his side for the longer formats, getting the pieces that he knows he's going to use consistently out there. And I think he feels very comfortable that whenever he gives Dipendra Singh Airi the ball, that he's going to strike no matter what the situation is.
Tell you something Gulshan Jha has been very good at, those leg cutters. isn't a huge change of action. The arm speed seems to me to be very similar, but there's a big differential then, because Jazz, one of the few Nepali pacers, is capable of getting it up north of that 130 kilometers an hour. So when he rolls the finger, that middle finger down the ball and bowls that leg cutter, it just feels as though the timing disappears for the USA batters.
And it's the length that he bowls as well. It doesn't typically pitch it up, so everything's back of a length or on it. And because he's so tall, he gets a little bit of extra bounce, and then the cutter comes in, you're playing for it, and then it's come off the bottom end of your bat.
Kamala just 4 away from what would be another T20 50. USA haven't announced their ODI squad yet. Can't imagine we'll see Ali Khan in it, although we'll have to wait for it to be officially announced. Any insight you've got for us as to who might come in?
Again, we'll have to see what the A team produces, and I know a lot of people want to see some of the youth, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, try to get into that squad. I reckon it's going to be pretty similar to the one we saw in Namibia, and in the series before that as well in the Netherlands. And again, who that pace option is going to be. Do they keep it with Chinoy Drysdale, Abhishek Butterkar, or do they go back to an Anand Desai?
There's been a few strange ones though as well, isn't there? Someone like a Nitish Kumar was in the T20 squad in Netherlands and in Namibia, but he's not in this T20 squad here. Is he?
No, he isn't. They've elected to go.
There has been some strange stuff, isn't
there? Right, there has. And Nitish Kumar's been predominantly seen, he was in the T20 side, and Milind Kumar was in the ODI team, and they almost had a role reversal. I think a lot of people expected Milind to be in the T20 side and Nitish Kumar to get more opportunities in the ODI setup, just more natural game for him. But they've seemed to mix around the bats quite well, and Milind Kumar has proved to be the right man to be in here. But again, Nitish Kumar not being involved at all would just be very surprising to me. He lives in this area, so it would be an easy call-up for the USA to bring him in.
Yeah, if you're talking about other potential names that could get in the mix, someone like Sushant Madani hasn't been in the mix recently, but he's in that A squad alongside Krishnamurthy, Sushant Madani as well. Talented young Skanda Rohit Sharma, who's a good player. Be interesting to see if Anand Desai can maybe force his way in, and a famous name. As this is pulled towards the shorter side, one bounce, and going to be 4, just out of the grasp of Anil Shah, who went to his right, thought he was interested for a moment, but he couldn't quite get there.
Yeah, real good innings this from Milind Kumar. He's kind of settled in to his batting. He hasn't found much success in this series, but you can see him standing on the crease. He's just waited for the short delivery, anticipated the cutter there, picked it, and put it away for 4.
I was just about to say that there's a famous name in that A squad, which we'll probably ask Peter Della Penna about in the next over. He's coming back in. Young Aaron Nadkarni, son of maybe one of the most famous American players of all time. This time down the ground. Long on's going to have to do well, and it's a misfield. And of all people, it's Kushal Bertel, who's usually outstanding there. I'm not sure he needed to attack it like that. Back-to-back boundaries, closes out the 13th. USA start to move. It's 95 for 3.
1, 2, 5, go!
Bye-bye.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं, शुद्ध रोजौं, मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु.
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा.
Regulation by their standards, and just a couple of little fumbles tonight. Always difficult with back-to-back T20Is, all the emotions of Nepal's unassailable series lead. And USA are just brewing something up all of a sudden. Bertel, the ball follows him, and they will get back for a second. Bid farewell for the moment to Aman Patel. Peter Della Penna rejoins me. Peter, you were listening to us talking about American team selection with the number of cricketers across the United States, with the number of leagues. That's going to be 50 for Saiteja Mukamala. We're talking about selection. He couldn't find his way into the starting 11 in the Netherlands, but he's done it now. And what a start he's had to his international career. It's just his 9th T20I, and it's already his 3rd 50. Very well played, young man. 4 4s, 1 6.
You talked earlier about how he's emerged as a role model for a lot of the youngsters coming out of different parts of America. And he's established a new precedent in terms of how to go about forging your way into the USA squad, because it used to be that a lot of players believed they would have to go overseas. As Milind Kumar gets a single here. They thought, well, we're not getting picked developing our cricket in America. If we want to get picked and showcase what we can do, we're going to have to go to university overseas, which is something that Abhishek Paradkar did. He went to university in Leeds. He's a few years older than Sai Mukamala.
Now, full toss, but it might have been hit ever so nearly down the throat of Kushal Bertel. The lack of timing there actually saved Mukamala, and he's going to ask for new gloves.
Yeah, it was a little bit wet last night in terms of the dew, and that might be something that's starting to take effect. But yeah, Mukamala, he actually went to India when he was a teenager for a brief time, and we'll continue that story after this over. It's 100 for 3 after 14.
And Peter, the point I was going to make to you is that there is never a time in American cricket where selection is not a hot topic, and it's purely the volume of cricketers and I suppose the disparity.
No, senor. Picture, please. Picture. Picture coming. Picture.
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Momo Mia.
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
Like an Andres House or a Milind Kumar, when you weigh their records up in India and South Africa prior to coming to the USA.
Picked up into the leg side. That's going to be all the way. It's the shorter side of the ground. Now, USA yesterday just allowed Gulshan Jah to bowl to them through these middle overs. Mukamala recognises that his fourth and final is one that they have to go after, and he starts in perfect fashion.
Here it is again, that front foot pull. And it's his trademark shot. Just plants that front foot. Doesn't matter what the length is.
Look who it is on the left of the screen.
Even
there he is.
Jay Lamachane can appreciate the sound coming off the bat of Sai Mukamala.
There he is. He's been hogging the TV time tonight, hasn't he, Jay Lamachane?
But to go back to the point about Mukamala, he was coming out of that generation of players who felt initially like, well, I'm behind the 8-ball, the 8-ball being a lot of the players with first-class experience overseas. I'm going to need to prove that I can do it overseas as well. And so he went to Hyderabad for a year. He's got family roots in Telangana, and even though he's born and raised in New Jersey, his dad helped connect him with an academy opportunity in Hyderabad, and he hated it. The plan was to have Sai Mukamala be there for 3-4 years, and he was only there a little more than a year, may have been as little as 15 months, and he said, Dad, I can't take it anymore. I need to come back to New Jersey. And it's a case of a lot of it was off the field stuff. It wasn't just the training, as Milind Kumar is getting some treatment in between deliveries here, but it was a lot of the off-the-field stuff. You go to India, and he might be Indian heritage, but he's the American. He's different. He's not fitting in, maybe. And there were a lot of things that were happening when he went to Hyderabad that he just wasn't enjoying it. And so he said, I want to come back. And when he came back, part of wanting to come back, it coincided with the emergence of Major League Cricket, the MLC academies. He was training at Dream Cricket Academy in New Jersey, which became affiliated with MLC, and a lot of the connections that MLC had in terms of providing extra training opportunities
That's going to be 4. Cut away. Maybe just an over too many for Gulshan Jia. Difficult at any stage of a modern T20 to bowl 4 on the bounce. And they're really going after the young pacer in his 4th and final.
Just too much width there. Milan Kumar uses the pace on the ball to guide this one behind point. Very well timed by Milan Kumar. But MLC, they've created opportunities not just through the MLC squads themselves in minor league cricket, but they've helped build up the infrastructure by enhancing more turf wickets around the country that didn't exist prior to MLC forming. Kamala can set the standard for up-and-coming players that, hey, we don't have to go overseas. We can develop our games on domestic soil in the U.S. because there are more turf wickets available that we can play on and hone our skills. And with the enhanced standard of players that have arrived with the likes of guys like Andres House and Milan Kumar in this squad, and you've got, again, the likes of Corey Anderson, Liam Plunkett, and others around the country, Manmukh Chand, et cetera, that litmus test for a guy like Saimo Kamala, he doesn't have to go overseas. He can test himself in New Jersey, in Texas, to see where he stands.
Half an appeal. That one's going to angle down the leg side. Leg by given by umpire Bandekar.
And more importantly, he's passed that litmus test. He knows where he stands. He's gotten the opportunities. He's proven himself. He's gotten a half century here. He's had a great start to his T20I career, and he's continuing with a tremendous partnership alongside Milan Kumar. And if more Saimo Kamalas can emerge, like some of the players Ahmed Patel was referencing earlier, Sanjay Krishnamurti, Vatsal Vaghela, Ali Sheikh is another, through that A squad, I think that would be a tremendous boost for cricket in America.
It's going to round out Gulshan Jia's spell. His figures somewhat ruined by that 4th and final over, because 14 have come against his figures, 15 in total. End of the 15th, 116 for 3.
तितो औषधिबाट बच्नु छ भने लाइफ बोय स्ट्रङ लेनु आउने गर्ने हातबाट कीटाणु मुखमा खुरु खुरु दब हुन्छ सबै रोग सुरु
त्यसैले लाइफ बोय स्ट्रङ यसले दिन्छ कीटाणुहरूबाट 100% स्ट्रङ सुरक्षा
जम्सबाट बच्न अब पाउनुहोस् 100 ग्रामको लाइफ बोय साबुन मात्र रु 45 मा
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु.
Maybe they've held him back is the lack of left-handers in the USA lineup. If they're looking for a matchup play, only Harmeet Singh is left-handed in this USA lineup, and he obviously hasn't arrived yet.
Cut away, and that's going to be cut away for 4. Not the line you want to bowl with the shorter offside boundary. Would have expected Irie to possibly be coming around the wicket from the start. He might do that now. And Mukamala just continues along his merry way.
Maybe part of the reason why he's been brought on here is, again, Mukamala likes to play in the air. Not necessarily slogging, but he'll go over the infield as they settle for one here. I think part of the reason why Irie might have been brought on here in this situation, he got Milan Kumar out. It was the game-changing over in the first T20I. He got Milan Kumar out after Milan Kumar had gotten set. And then the very next ball, it was that left-hander who came out, Harmeet Singh, and got him first ball, back-to-back balls. So maybe they're trying to conjure up some of that magic that Irie produced from the first T20I, targeting Milan Kumar, who he got out in that match.
And he's now around the wicket. It seems to be the more sensible angle as Irie himself hares after it, nearly gets there ahead of Kushal Purcell, even though the ball departs outside the 30-yard circle. Excellent running though. They do get back for 2. And USA are very much humming here. They're thinking of what? 175, 180, if not more than that, Peter.
Well, from this stage, they'd be very disappointed to finish anything less than 170. Especially when you've got a guy like Mukamala who's been there all innings. If he bats all 20, you never know. We could see USA's second T20I century.
Definitely in the mix. There's still 26 deliveries remaining. Mukamala would need to face a lot of them. And that's Irie off his own bowling. The brilliance of, and that's why I was surprised he bowled over the wicket for the first ball. The brilliance of this round the wicket angle, he in essence becomes an additional fielder. Rather than have the 9 outfielders, Irie makes it 10 because he works as a sort of a short mid-wicket. Finishes out that over well after the boundary from the first ball. 9 runs have come from it. 16 have been bowled. It's 125 for 3.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
Towards his neck. Now they're a little bit lower, and his neck, he's got a little bit more breathing room. He's a bit more relaxed.
Well, change of decision, and a very late one, because Sampal Kambi had taken his cap off and his jumper off and given it to umpire Samir Bandekar. And then I think what Rohit Powell has done is he's gone over and he's checked his numbers as to which bowlers have bowled what. And he said, actually, no, I want Rijan Dakal to bowl this one. Kambi still has 2 left. So does that mean that Kambi's going to bowl overs 18 and 20 from the pavilion end of the ground, this end of the ground? And then maybe it might have to be Dipendra Singh Irie to bowl the 20th and final. There's plenty of options here, aren't there? He's not going to go back to Arif Sheikh or Kushal Malla, but the problem is he's one short, Peter, isn't he? Irie's going to have to bowl at least one more.
As you said, Sampal Kambi's going to bowl 2 at the death. We know that. It's just a matter of filling out the rest of that final 4 overs.
Edged and put down. Not easy, but a definite chance. And Dakal applauds his keeper for getting something on it. It went very quickly, didn't it? And Asif Sheikh got the dive in, but his hands weren't really ever in a position to hold on to it.
Well, the footwork was poor there. He should have been able to take that upright. His foot got stuck in the mud there, Lenny. He really didn't need to leave his feet if he got the side shuffle to go with the edge, and he just was late reacting. Did not look good.
Almost looked to me, Peter, as though he was caught unawares of the edge actually being a possibility. That's the quality of Mukamala's innings. Everything has been coming out of close to the middle of the bat, but a big moment in the game. Mukamala dropped on 65. That will be a wide, 2 wide outside the off stump.
We've seen much more difficult chances taken in this series. And this one, this is wide. The previous delivery that Mukamala faced put down was a fairly regulation chance by wicket-keeping standards.
It would have broken the partnership, which would have been critical, because this 4th wicket partnership has changed the game. At 55 for 3, USA looked a bit all at sea, didn't they? But they fought back in a big way thanks to young Saiteja Mukamala and Milan Kumar, who is starting to impress more and more in international cricket. The 33-year-old, this is his highest score now in T20Is.
Well, Milan Kumar came out of the tour of Namibia in incredible form in one-day cricket. He scored one of the most magnificent centuries in USA history in the ODIs on that tour.
155, wasn't it? Off just 110 balls.
And that was after scoring 74 not out in the previous game. So his ODI form has been superlative. It's just a matter of transferring that to T20 eyes.
Good change of pace from Rijan Dakal. It was actually a fourth wicket partnership between these two. Mukamala was at a different position. He was at number 4. He made a century, 107 off 99 balls, and the two put on the best part of 200 together. So they clearly enjoy batting with each other. That was against UAE down in Windhoek less than a month ago.
Well, what was remarkable about it is they set the fourth wicket partnership record for USA together. And then 2 days later, they broke it against UAE. They set it against Namibia, and then they raised the bar together again with 191 against UAE.
Chipped in the air and just out of the reach of Kushal Malla. You suspect if Dipender Singh Airi was there, that could have been a chance. But it's a really good fourth and final over from Rijan Dakal. He's going to finish with 4 overs, 1 for 23, the exact same figures as Lalit Rajbansi. 2 excellent left-arm bowling efforts. It's 131 for 3.
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं.
He's been a real asset, and he's finished another excellent day for him. Sampal Kami's going to bowl overs 18 and 20, you'd imagine. It means that Rohit Paudal's going to have a bit of a conundrum as to who's going to bowl the 19th with the short leg side boundary for the two right-handers. And USA, they'll still be thinking 175, but they'll need 3 big overs to get there. Kami's going to come around the wicket. The momentum just being stifled a touch by Nepal.
Well, the previous 2 overs, USA took 16 runs off Gulshan Jha and then 9 off of Dipender Singh Airi and then just 6 off Rijan Dakal. And this is where they stuttered last night as well. No boundaries off the last 2 overs. Last boundary they scored was by Andres House just
bowls him, and it's Kami again. Well, what a 48 hours he's having. He's been in this team for over a decade. One of Nepal's great servants, but I don't think he's ever had 2 better days consecutively in the blue and red of Nepal. The hero last night, he's turning into the hero again tonight, and Mukamala's wonderful innings come to an end.
Well, Sai Mukamala loves that front foot pull shot, and Sampal Kami used that against him. He's planted on the front foot. Sampal Kami took pace off the ball, and because he's always on the front foot, he threw the shot too early, can't keep his hands back long enough, and he's out bowled for 68. It's 131 for 4 in the 18th.
No, senor. Picture, please. Picture. Picture coming. Picture.
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Momo Mia.
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
Yeah, they might think of a second here. Kami hares after it himself, and he won't be able to cut off that second. Good running.
Now this is Simon Kamal's go-to shot. He loves getting on that front foot and going over to mid-wicket. But Sumpal Kami knew it. They've seen enough of him in this innings to know he likes that shot. And very cleverly, Sumpal Kami took pace off the ball. And it meant Simon Kamal was well through the shot by the time the ball arrived and clattered into the top of off stump. Great bowling from Sumpal Kami.
We've been on the same pitch, the same playing surface for all three T20s, Peter, and that's meant that there's been that big disparity with, from this end of the ground, the massive leg side boundary and the shorter, much shorter offside boundary. You were quite critical of USA's strategic fielding in terms of out the far side. The pitch is holding up well, it's playing really well, but that was with their fielding, and when they bowled, they didn't protect the larger side well. But you also feel as though they didn't target the larger side well. They tried to look for 4s and 6s, which weren't going to be possible.
And part of the reason why they've had trouble with that, they've only got one left-hander in the lineup. And it's a left-hander.
This could... Oh, I thought it was going to be a chance. Sorry, Peter. I thought Cammy was going to have a go at the non-striker's end.
I know you think the Nepal fielding is good, Lenny, but they're not that good. Come on.
Exceptional they've been. Points for the first two games. Why is there no other left-handers? Where's Gajanan Singh? Why is he not in the mix?
Well, more recently, you could say, where's Stephen Taylor? What did he do wrong? We talked about it yesterday on the broadcast meeting. I'm going to tell, I don't necessarily agree with a player losing their spot through injury. Now, yes, he hadn't been in the best of form prior to getting that knee injury in the Netherlands, but we also talked about he went back to minor league cricket and he scored a hell of a lot of runs.
Well, an excellent over from Sampal Kami, even if they run the second, which they will because it's well placed again. More lightning fielding from Dipendra Singh Airi. Electric as always. Gets us to the end of the 18th. It's 137 for 4. Peter, what about Stephen Taylor being in the squad but not opening? Like, could that have been a consideration for USA? They could have then had the option of Taylor batting at number 6 or 7, or maybe let's say number 5 even, and still bowl his off breaks because his off spin's very effective.
Well, that's what he's been much more productive in the USA squad doing over the last several years. Is take a look at where USA might be projected to finish up with. I thought they could get to 170 at the...
Ready? 1, 2, 5, go!
Bye-bye.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
Bill Sumpal Kami rounds out his spell on the 20th. But I think the mentality of the selectors leaving Stephen Taylor out.
Hit into the offside. Man out there, not quite going to carry. Very nearly did. I was just about to say, sorry to cut you off, Peter, but Dipendra Singh Airi is really taking one for the team here, isn't he? He's bowling off breaks to 2 right-handers with, well, no more than a 50-yard leg side boundary.
Where was your excitement on that ball, Lenny? That was right to Kushal Patel. He grew alligator arms. He didn't go for it. That was a catching chance in my book, Lenny.
Don't think that was quite carrying,
because he didn't run in for it. He let it bounce in front of him.
Yeah, this is nicely played through the offside, but it's the skipper, Rohit Powell, who does really well to keep it to a couple. If Airi can get through this over without a boundary, Peter, it's a serious effort. You've got 2 powerful right-handers and a very short leg side boundary, and only 4 fielders on that leg side. Just 2 in the deep, long on and deep mid-wicket. He's trying to hide the ball away outside the off stump.
Yep.
Hit away for a single. Well, Peter, alligator arms. Often I'll sit next to you and I'll have no idea what you're talking about. This might be another case. Hit down the ground. Powell's got work to do, but he does it well. Just a single.
Have you not seen an alligator in the zoo or in the wild, Lenny? They've got short arms.
We don't have them in Ireland, no.
You spend enough time in other parts of the world, Lenny.
That's true, actually. The country I spend the least amount of time in is probably my alma mater back home. Alligator arms. Didn't think you'd get that in there tonight.
Short ones.
Well, Dipendra Singh Airi, he's quite remarkable, isn't he? You might look at his figures at the end of tonight. If this ball doesn't go for a boundary, he has done a massive duty for his team here. Just knows his game really well, doesn't he? Knows his angles, knows what he's doing with his off breaks. Exceptional. That is a quite brilliant over. 7 runs from it, and USA just had no answer to the Tiger. Nepal, they've really edged the last 3 overs. They have the momentum, but there's still 1 to go. It's 144 for 4.
नमस्ते भारत तोरीको तेल पाउ न यो लिनुस् नयाँ आको सस्तो पनि छ प्राकृतिक राग भएको विश्वासिलो गुणस्तरीय अनि राम्रो नो कम्प्रोमाइज विथ धारा साउजी विजयजी बडो स्मार्ट हुनुहुँदो रहेछ क्वालिटी हेर्नु हुँदो रहेछ मूल्य होइन मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
Final over. 144 for 4 the score. What can USA get to? Really good fielding from Kushal Bertel. He did misfield 1 down at long on, but this time he does really well to save at least 1 additional run, if not 3. Do USA have enough here, Peter?
No, for a couple of different reasons. Nepal has had really good batting performances over the course of the first 2 matches. USA is also playing tonight without Ali Khan, so their bowling is a little bit under strength.
This goes a long way up. He hasn't got enough of it. Anil Shah nestles underneath it. And that's the biggest cheer of the night, because Sampal Kami has another in the most halcyon of 2 days for one of Nepal's finest. He's got 3 for... I'm not sure if Anil Shah could see it out of the floodlights, but he managed to hold on. And Jahangir never got going. He's the latest American batter to fall.
Well, you were saying earlier that you thought Dipendra Singh Airi had the Player of the Series award locked up, Lenny. Sampal Kami might have heard you, and he said, I'm going to have a word with you about that. That was the wicket of Mukamala earlier. He's also fetched Shayan Jahangir, caught it long off, out for 9. And it's 145 for 5 in the final over.
नयाँ लक्स अब पहिलो पटक भिटामिन सी र भिटामिन ई को साथ जसले मुहारबाट दाग कम गर्छ र दिन्छ बेदाग निखार नयाँ लक्स हाम्रो उत्कृष्ट साबुन लक्स अब पाउनुहोस् मात्र रु 50 मा
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
Sampal Kami charging into him. Hit into the leg side, no real timing. Powdle hairs in and manages to cut off the second. That was in between the 2 fielders. This was his 3rd wicket, Peter. Just outthought Jahangir again. They haven't got to grips with this around the wicket angle.
Nope. And as soon as it came off the bat, he knew it wasn't going to beat Anil Shah at long off. And the fans knew behind Anil Shah. And one of the things that this innings has shown, again going back to the Stephen Taylor discussion, without him in the lineup, USA hasn't had enough disruption in terms of bowling rhythm for the opposition. It's been right-handers all the way. Now you're seeing Harmeet Singh come to the crease in the final over, but USA's lack of left-handers in the lineup has really hurt them. They need more balance.
Milind Kumar's innings here, 43 off 35. Has he played the role well enough, given it we feel it's a pretty good batting surface again?
I'm not going to fault him. When a lot of other guys in this lineup aren't scoring runs, if you're asking me to criticize a guy who's gotten into the 40s at better than a run a ball, There are a lot of things I will criticize USA about, Andrew Leonard. This isn't one of them.
No, that's more like it. And finally, something to the shorter side. It's Harmeet Singh showing that he does have that ability to clear the ropes, and it's a maximum from the penultimate delivery. It's Harmeet Singh who gets one out of the screws.
Well, I know he's been short of form, but this is why I was saying ad nauseum last night during the Super Over, he should have been out there. He can clear the ropes.
And the 150's up.
And he provides that disruption that I was talking about. You get a left-hand, right-hand combination, it throws the balance back in favor of the batting side because the bowling side struggles to figure out a plan to negate the short boundary on one side.
Final delivery of the first innings should get at least 2. Dipendra Singh Airi is going after this like a rocket. He picks up one-handed. He throws flat. Oh, he's nearly created a chance as the relay goes on to the stumps. Well, Usain Bolt out there on the far side has run about 60 yards to get to that. He's gone from deep extra cover to deep backward point in a matter of moments. He's picked up one-handed and he's lasered it in over the top. The fans have loved that and very nearly created a run-out opportunity. An entertaining finish. Nice cameo from Harmeet Singh. Wasn't in there for long, but it could prove an effective one. We saw last night Karen KC's maximum from the final delivery make a huge difference to the course of the contest tonight. Harmeet Singh picks up 10 off just 3 balls, including 9 off the last 2, to get USA up to about what we reckon might be in and around a par total, if anything a little shy of it, at 156 for 5.
USA playing for pride tonight. They've struggled in these first 2 matches, especially at the death, but a good finish there. That's what they needed last night. They didn't get. Harmeet Singh providing a nice surge at the end with 10 runs and just 3 deliveries. But the big story for USA, Saimo Kamala scoring another half century, top scoring in the innings with 68, the 20-year-old out of New Jersey. Looks really fluent until he was dismissed by Sampal Kami, who has starred again. He was the star last night with the ball for Nepal, and he's doing it again here in match number 3 of this Stake Stars and Summits series. 3 wickets for Sampal Kami, who's one of the senior figures in this Nepal squad. And it's even more impressive tonight because he's doing it with Karen KC sitting out. For those just joining us, Karen KC being arrested tonight. That added even more responsibility on Sampal Kami, and he stepped up brilliantly. 3 for 27. Rajan Dakal, the left armer, with 1 wicket, as well as Lalit Rajbanshi, the left arm spinner, playing his first match of the series, finishes with a wicket as well. The 3 wicket takers for Nepal.
And a special mention too for Dipendra Singh Airi, who bowled 2 of the most difficult overs of the innings, and he only went for 16 from them. Good effort from one of the stars of the show here. So that's going to wrap up our coverage for the first innings. We feel it might be about honours even. The restart time is in about 7 or 8 minutes from now, so don't go anywhere too far. We will be back on air in 6 minutes time from now, where Nepal, to round out a historic 3-0 series clean sweep, they're going to need 157 to win.
नेपाल र युएसए बीच ऐतिहासिक T20 सिरिज यही कार्तिक 2, 4 र 5 गते बिहान 5 बजेदेखि मात्र कान्तिपुर म्याक्स र डिजिटल प्लेटफर्महरुमा। ब्रॉट टु यु बाइ
मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा।
सही खोजौं, शुद्ध रोजौं। मुटु चाहिन्छ, मुटु।
पैसा पठाऊ ठाउँको ठाउँ, फोन पे डाइरेक्ट। नगद छोडाऊ, फोन पे गरौ। हाम्रो चाडबाड होन्टाको खुसियाली बारमा।
Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
ई-सेवासँग मनाउनुहोस् महाउत्सव। यसपालि दशैं तिहारमा ई-सेवाबाट जुनसुकै कारोबार गर्दा कार जित्ने मौका। यो चाडपर्व गर्नुहोस् ई-सेवाबाट कारोबार, चढ्नुहोस् नामीको दामी कार। साथमा आइफोन 16 र हात खाली नहुने उपहार। असोज 1 देखि कार्तिक 30 सम्म ई-सेवाबाट जति धेरै कारोबार त्यति नै धेरै उपहार। हजारौं लकी विनर्सले जित्न सक्नुहुनेछ वीकली र मन्थली क्याशब्याक्स, भाउचर्स, डिस्काउन्ट्स र अरु टन्नै अफरहरू। आजैदेखि टप अप, फ्लाइट टिकट्स, होटल बुकिङ, बिल पेमेन्ट्स र क्यूआर पेमेन्ट जस्ता सबै कारोबार ई-सेवाबाट गरौँ।
हाम्रो चाडबाड होन्डाको खुसियाली बारमा जितौं 10 लाखको उपहार। यसपालिको चाडबाडमा स्क्रैच कार मार्फत जित्नुहोस् 10 लाखसम्मको नगद उपहार। साथै चुज योर स्किमबाट छान्नुहोस् रु 10,000 सम्मको थप स्क्रैच कार वा 12,500 बराबरको 5 वर्ष एएमसी प्याकेज वा 7 वर्षसम्म बाई 1 गेट 1 सर्भिसिङ फ्री अनि बिग बाइक्समा 1 लाखसम्मको डिस्काउन्ट। र यो स्किम होन्डा इजी फाइनान्समा पनि लागू हुनेछ।
पसलमा भ्याइ नभ्याइ हुन्छ। पैसा जति सबै फोन पेबाट सिधै बैंक खातामा गएपछि म त ढुक्क।
कति बताई?
450। फोन पे त मेरो लागि वरदान नै हो। आउँदै गर्नु हास।
न क्याश बोक्नु पर्ने न एटीएम मा लाइन लाग्नु पर्ने, फोन भए पुग्छ। फोन पे त मेरो लागि लाइफस्टाइल भइसकेको छ।
ट्याक्सी दाइ फोन पे चल्छ है?
चलिहाल्छ नि, बस्नुस्।
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ। ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो। हस्, थ्याङ्क यू दाइ।
बिजुलीको बिल तिर्यौ?
तिरे त। हेर्नुहोस् न, आफ्नो त बिर्सिने बानी। झन् यो बिल तिर्न भनेपछि त यादै हुँदैन। तर सम्झिने बित्तिकै फोन पे गरिदिइहाल्छु। फोन पे मेरो लागि भरपर्दो साथी। साँच्ची, तिमीले फ्लाइटको टिकट बुक गर्यौ?
मैले हिजै बुक गरिसकेँ।
फोन पे त मेरो लागि समयको बचत हो।
मेरो लागि विश्वास हो।
स्वतन्त्रता हो। मेरो लागि आवश्यकता हो। मेरो लागि सहजता हो। मेरो लागि दिनचर्या हो।
साउजी,
हजुर,
मलाई तोरीको तेल दिनुस् न।
यो लिनुहोस्, नयाँ आएको, मूल्य पनि कम छ।
नमस्ते साउजी।
नमस्ते।
धारा तोरीको तेल पाउ न। यो लिनुहोस्। होइन, मलाई धारा तोरीको तेल नै चाहिन्छ।
सस्तो पनि छ।
धारा तोरीको तेल प्राकृतिक राख भएको, विश्वासिलो, गुणस्तरीय अनि राम्रो। नो कम्प्रोमाइज विथ धारा साउजी।
विजयजी बडो स्मार्ट हुनुहुँदो रहेछ। क्वालिटी हेर्नु हुँदो रहेछ, मूल्य होइन।
साउजी, मलाई पनि धारा तेल दिनुस् न।
मुटु चाहिन्छ, मुटु।
नयाँ लक्स अब पहिलो पटक भिटामिन सी र भिटामिन ई को साथ, जसले मुहारबाट दाग कम गर्छ र दिन्छ बेदाग निखार। नयाँ लक्स, हाम्रो उत्कृष्ट साबुन लक्स अब पाउनुहोस् मात्र रु 50 मा।
आज पनि तातो मोमो खाने। नो सिनियर, पिज्जा प्लेस। तातो मोमो खाने हो। पिज्जा खाने क्या भाइ? पिज्जा।
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Momo Mia.
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला, तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ। starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
Me in Muscat, the history and heritage of the Grange in Aberdeen, up in Scotland, the beauty of the VRA in Amstelveen, and of course the fanaticism there at the TU International Cricket Ground in Kirtapur. This facility is as good as any of them, if not better. It's truly world class, and we've been lucky to be here to bring you every ball of this inaugural Stake Stars and Summits trophy. Nepal are going to get their hands on that trophy in about 2 hours time, or 90 minutes from now, depending upon how long the second innings goes. But they would love to do it with a little exclamation point at the end, with a 3-0 clean sweep fashion to it. They've been excellent throughout this series. Still not quite sure how they won last night, but they fought back again. USA mustered just 28 runs on a very good batting surface between overs 15 and 19, and they needed a little late surge from Harmeet Singh, who came in at number 7, who made 10 off just 3 balls, to muster things up to 156 for 5. We think it might just be a fraction under par, but we should be in for, again, a really good and very tightly fought game. Anil Shah is going to open the batting alongside Asif Sheikh for the 3rd consecutive time in the series. And again, Saurav Netravalkar has got the new ball in hand. Aaron Jones is in there at sort of a second slip. And we're going to guide you through every ball of the remainder of this series. Andrew Leonard alongside Aman Patel. Aman, another entertaining innings, but USA must feel as though they've left, 15 or 20 plus runs out there.
Probably a little bit more than that. They had that partnership that they needed between Milind Kumar and Saiteji Mukamala, and just unable to capitalize on it. The power hitting wasn't there. They wanted Shahin Jahangir to be that man. Harmeet Singh found a couple runs, but now all on the bowlers.
Something that Nepal probably haven't done in this series with real consistency. You know, they had a good partnership for the openers in the first T20, but they haven't really started incredibly well, have they? They've kind of taken a little while to adjust, and a lot of that's been down to the skills of Saurav Netravalkar. But there's no Ali Khan tonight. Some Nepal fans may not have seen Janoy Drysdale before, but they'll see him with probably the new ball alongside Netravalkar.
Yeah, Janoy Drysdale's a different flavor of pace than Ali Khan. Probably not as quick, but gets a little bit more bounce off the wicket with a little bit of ways movement. So he keeps you on the back foot, gets a little bit of that lateral movement. But you mentioned these openers. The thing they've done well, keep themselves in the middle. Don't throw wickets away.
Down the leg side, flicked around the corner. Not a particularly good effort from Andreas House with the gloves. We'll wait for the signal. It's given as leg buys, but it will be the first runs. And if you're wondering who the majority of the 1,500, maybe 2,000 fans that we have in are cheering for, they seem to be cheering for Nepal.
Seems to be that way all throughout the series, Lenny. Doesn't feel like we're quite in Dallas, Texas, and Andres Khelsov was disappointed on that. Thought he should have gotten to it in his own right. He's moved quick enough, but the gloves are there. It just went right underneath him. Yeah, the atmosphere of this Grand Prix Stadium has been phenomenal. I remember I was down there for the last couple of overs, including the super over, and the roar you got when you got sent into end of regulation. Just incredible.
It'll just be a single, the first runs off the bat. There is Drysdale. Spoken a lot in that first innings about, well, the myriad of selection options that USA have. They almost have too many players. We've probably forgotten half a dozen, if not more, that are there or thereabouts. But Drysdale isn't one of the young options, but he is a very new man to international cricket. He's come in his 30s. He's been really impressive for me since he's debuted just 2 months ago.
Yeah, he was impressive the first time I got to see him in 2022 with the Philadelphians in minor league cricket. Watched a little bit of tape on him as before he came down to Church Street Park, and again, bowled predominantly on AstroTurf up there. He's played a lot of his cricket in the Caribbean, and he's taken that since to Philadelphia, and now on hybrid surfaces. It was good this year, and he's been great for the USA. That's the real beauty of minor league cricket as well. You've seen a lot of these guys being able to perform. The Shahin Jahangir is another great example of that in the minor league, performing and then getting that next level bump.
Can you explain, not to the fans in America, the American fans will know it well, but to those around the world and those watching from Nepal, the difference between minor league and major league? There's not just a huge gulf in standard, but also just the scope and the scale of the tournament.
Yeah, minor league is 26 teams now, all spread out all across the country. So from California all the way to the East Coast, and they split up into 4 divisions. You have an East, a South, a Central, and a West, and so it allows all domestic cricketers to play. So you have to be of domestic. You get 1 wild card. So we saw Rohan Mustafa actually in the league this season, former captain of the UAE. You see the field shift to add another member into the onside. And it allows the best of the best to play with each other. So Saurabh Netravalkar's bowling to Sai Tejamukamala consistently, and that's why we've seen so much progression, I think, of the standard of cricket headed into Major League, as Major League's more your franchise, your IPL competition, versus your minor league would be your county cricket, your Ranji Trophy style.
So the minor league, it probably allows more opportunity for American qualified and homegrown players. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100% fair to say. Again, that's where everyone gets your start. So Hassan Khan started there. Even Sai Tejamukamala was able to really progress in that region. So you see a lot of guys born here, and I think that's been the biggest gap it's filled. A lot of times in the USA, you lose guys between the under-19 cycle and the national team. If you don't quite make it on your first go, you probably drop the sport. So minor league's given an outlet for a guy like Skandar Rohit Sharma to keep playing and make his way to a USAA side.
Be a single to round out the first over, just 6 come from it. 1 boundary was that 4-leg boys. 1 over in the books in the chase. It's 6 for none.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
They had Jugan out there on the East Coast. They had people down in Texas. So you're seeing teams start to really ask about the minor league. And you can see minor league playing an impact on the draft as well. Hassan Khan, the the second pick in Major League Cricket last season, was because he came into minor league, struck it at 180, averaged over 100, so he didn't get out and hit the ball a long way. And Janoy Drysdale picked up into Major League as well due to minor league performances, and now bowling here in Dallas, Texas.
Some wonderfully named teams as well, aren't there? Like, I know in Major League, the Orcas and the San Francisco Unicorns, they're great teams to think about the way they're named, and they're very evocative. But give us some of the flavors, some of your favorite in minor league as well.
Well, in minor league, you got the San Diego Surf Riders, where Marty Kane was over there. We've seen the emergence of, we started out with the Hollywood Master Blasters. That was always a fun one to say. The Baltimore Royals have come to mind. Fort Lauderdale Lions, I think, is one of the good alliterations on there. Plenty of those really fun team names out there. St. Louis Americans also just flows out of there.
The SoCal Lashings. They were one out.
They're now the Los Angeles Lashings.
Oh, are they now the Los Angeles?
So now you got the LA Lashings involved.
Down the leg side, that'll be given as a wide. I really like the Philadelphians as well. And for those who know their American cricket history, obviously that was kind of the original hub of the game, and there still is some beautiful grounds there. It's played on, is it fair to say, a big mix, a variety of facilities, from kind of the excellent ones like you have here to those that are kind of more burgeoning, maybe sometimes in public parks? Yeah,
you're seeing a lot of them in public parks. The one thing about it now compared to season 1 is that you're playing everything on either pure turf or it's hybrid wicket, so nothing on artificial anymore, and I think that's been the big step that minor league has taken. Everyone's playing on really close to natural surfaces.
Just a flick of the thigh pad is the indication from the umpire. I think that's a good decision. That's why it's not given as a wide. It was only half an appeal, really. But the pace and bounce of Drysdale is going to cause problems. There is a huge amount of cricket as well, isn't there, across America? The exact figures are hard to gauge, but they reckon in and around 200,000 cricketers playing every single week throughout a season that can be really long, can't it? It can span almost sort of 10 of the 12 months of the year.
Yeah, because you have such a big country, you have so many different weather patterns and time zones that here in Texas you can play basically all year long. The Drysdale continues, and then in North Carolina, where I'm from, you play around from March to November-ish, and we have 3 different formats over there. You have a T20 format, a 40-over format, and then there's a tennis ball format that plays all year round. Everyone's out there. It'll be January and about 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and they're still out there playing under the lights. They love cricket. I think that's the big misconception, is that there's not a lot of cricket played. There's so much cricket played and there's hubs. North Carolina, New Jersey, the Bay Area is a big hub. Atlanta's got a hub. Dallas is starting to become a big one.
Even the Midwest, Chicago, there's a huge amount of cricket, not just in the city, but in the suburbs too. As Sheikh tries to make some room, but doesn't get anything on it. Might have kept a touch low. Have you seen a big impact then from the World Cup run? It started to hit areas in terms of the media coverage and wider public knowledge that really has never been in American cricket, well, certainly in the last 50 or 100 years.
Yeah, 100%. I think being a part of Major League, and you were down there as well more, so getting to talk to some of the crowd there, they're like, oh, I watched the USA World Cup game, and I wanted to come to this. And it's like, that's a really cool thing to experience. You see news outlets now really interested. I've had a couple reach out, be like, hey, what's the story on this guy here? Because we saw him play in the World Cup. And you're seeing a real care and a genuine interest starting to bloom almost just internally. And that's the real natural thing you like to see about our natural interests start to come in that feels way more sustainable.
Yeah, certainly does. Always good to talk all things American cricket with Aman Patel. We got Peter Della Penna, who certainly the doyen, isn't he, of all things American cricket. He's off, I hope, not finding some alligator arms for his lunch right now. Or his dinner. Forget we're under the floodlights. It's been a great 3 days of cricket, it really has. And in many ways, this is kind of the appetizer, isn't it? You talk about those 6 ODIs that we have coming up next week, the importance of them. As that short ball will round out an excellent start from Janoy Drysdale. He continues to impress me every time we see him. And with 2 overs bowled, it's 8 for none.
फोन पे चल्छ है
चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस्
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं
Actually having some practices out on the outfield. They've used the nets a couple of times, and so they're ready, primed up to go. And again, these points are so vital. For those of you who don't follow Cricket World Cup League 2, it's your opportunity to get into that ODI World Cup, into the ODI World Cup qualifiers, and then from there you can jump in there. That's how the Netherlands got there. That's how the West Indies missed out in this 2023 edition. So a lot on the line. Again, these 6 games will be really exciting. If the wickets stay like this, and all indications say they will be, played 3 games on the same surface, there's plenty in it for the bats of all 3 parties.
Yeah, and certainly if you look at that table, Nepal need to get winning, don't they? There's a huge amount of cricket to be played. It'll run all the way to December 2026. But they don't want to get themselves in the position of needing another miraculous run like they had in 2023. They have just found the going a little bit tough, particularly up in Canada. As Anil Shah tries for the big hit. Neither of these 2 openers have looked in great form, have they? Kushal Patel was the hero last night. Rohit Paudel in the first T20. They almost look like they're trying to overhit a touch.
Yeah, it does feel as if they haven't found full flow. The one thing you'll say compared to the USA top order is they've just been able to hang in there and take the brunt of Saurabh Netravalkar and Ali Khan in days past, now Janoy Drysdale, and allow a Kushal Patel to come in, or Rohit Paudel to come in just a touch later, come in without the seamers going, come in with maybe the 3rd seam option in Jesse Singh, where they could attack the spinners bowling there. And so that's what you want to happen from your openers, at least see off that initial spell. Especially when you're not chasing a huge total, you can live with this early on.
Well, that's much more like it. And that one's not coming back. It's gone many a mile. Maybe the shorter boundary, but that would have been 6 on the larger one. Netravalkar just getting the line wrong. And the key was there. Asif Sheikh doesn't try to overhit, just goes with it and gets it all the way for the first maximum of the chase.
Yeah, shades of Saeed Mukamala against Arif Sheikh in the first innings. It just straight down the leg side. You can see him step out to that direction, and he's just not trying to turn his wrist too much. He's just helped it on its way. Understanding it's a shorter ground. Netravalkar not the quickest in the attack, but plenty of pace on it to just carry it over the top. And like you rightfully said, Lenny, you can just see what happens when you hold the shape. The real difference between a Mukamala and maybe a Monik Patel in the American innings. And you mentioned here for Nepal, this is what the openers have done well. They've held their shape pretty consistently throughout the 3 days of cricket.
Consecutive delivery. Won't get Netravalkar on consecutive deliveries altogether too often. Much better line that time. Yeah, I actually find those ODIs that we have coming up, you and I will be on call for those on the ICC's platforms, Aman. I find them really hard to predict. I have no idea. Will the USA continue their excellent form and go unbeaten? Will they look a bit out of sorts to me. Not just necessarily with their form. It's not the fact they've lost, just their body language looks a little bit negative. I don't know, is there something going on in the camp maybe? But Nepal have found their stride. And in Scotland, they're just so consistent, aren't they? And they are brilliant to watch. The big hammer blow for them, though, George Munsey ruled out with that groin injury. They've got a great replacement, a man who made a century in his ODI debut earlier this summer. But no Munsey, who you could argue has been the best associate batter in the world this year. That's a hammer blow.
Yeah, he's a rock, right? He just, whenever you need it, he gives you it. That's kind of the Deepinder Singh Airi in the Nepal form. He's just always available, always finds a way to impact the game with the bat in hand. Like you mentioned, he's just in an incredible run of form so far, Munsey. You mentioned trying to predict those ODIs. The USA, like you rightfully said, there's just something off. You can just feel it as you're walking in. You see Nepal, they feel connected, the way they run off the field, the way they walk in, versus the USA. Seems as if they're lacking a little bit of bite that they maybe had in June. It'll close out over number 3. Netravalkar responds well after being hit for a maximum. It's 17 without loss.
Ready? 1, 2, 5, go!
Bye-bye.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
So we ignored those and we asked for some sense as the Nepal fans are really getting into it. But the team in Nepal, up in King City, the Nepal team, they were as together as I've ever seen them at any point, and they weren't far away. They really weren't. I'm going to dash a quick single this time as Drysdale continues. So if you looked at those scorecards, you'd have said, well, they're nowhere, they're gone. But all the posts I've seen on social media over the last 48 hours have been, we're back. I know you sent me one. I loved that one. It was like a graph, wasn't it?
It was almost, you're looking at a life chart. It's just going.
The cardiac kids.
Cardiac kids, exactly. We're back. It's never been more over. We're so back. It was just, you're riding the highs and falling the lows. That comes with passionate fans. You tend to see that.
You're of a younger generation. I know we share very similar views on many things in life, cricket in particular, but you love a meme as well, don't you?
I love a meme.
There's been some good ones going around this
Lenny,
series.
I'm Gen Z. I gotta love a meme, don't I?
Yeah, that's a great stroke. That's Anil Shah at his fluent best. It's gone a long way, but not all the way. 1 bounce and 4. Banged into the surface by Drysdale. He was sitting on the back foot, almost expecting it, and Shah gets his first boundary.
This is the one criticism you'll have with Janoy Drysdale. He just tends to get stale after you've seen him once. He doesn't rush you with his pace if you're expecting the short ball. He gets too short, and it doesn't matter what generation you're a part of, you're going to enjoy that shot.
Shows how true this surface is yet again. And I know Dave Agnew, the head groundsman, the head curator here, said, do not mention me on air under any circumstances. I'm not going to listen to you, Dave. You and your team have done a brilliant job again. That's nicely guided. That might be 4 more. Look at how good the surface is, and look at how quick the outfield is. The Nepal fans are getting on top of USA here now.
It's just brilliant work from Anil Shah. Not much wrong with that delivery. It wasn't that wide. He just created the room and opened the wrist very, very late. And able to squeeze it past that short third fielder. The one thing for Janoy Drysdale, pitch it up. They're just camping on the back foot. You get the extra bounce. If you're able to just find a head of a good length, you can then surprise them as they try to drive through covers. Brilliant stuff here from Anil Shah.
Yeah, back-to-back boundaries, and all of a sudden, the scoreboard starting to move in this power play. Tries to make it 3 in a row. Now there's a man out there. He's picked him out, and it's put down. Oh, Jesse Singh. He did all the hard work. He got into the right position, and that might be the biggest cheer of the night.
They're loving it because they get to see their bats out there. I'm not sure he got into the right position there, Lenny. He hasn't gotten underneath the ball. That's the big thing. You see him with a dive forward in the end. It's a longer side of the ground, a lot of work to do, comes high off the bat face, and you'll see him, he's reaching forward. He's never underneath it, never able to settle his hands. And that's the difference between catches taken and not. You often say you take catches with your feet. If your feet are in the right position, you're going to find it right in your palms.
Short, guided away, and only probably half a yard in front of Harmeet Singh, who feels quite well on the bounce. USA have had a chronic issue throughout this series with their positioning of their fielders on that larger side. Yet again, it's gone wrong.
And they finally got it right. He's positioned correctly. It's gone exactly where he stepped. Janoy Drysdale's gotten away with this one as well. That's short wide. Probably could have been hammered away over third, but he's just picked out Harmeet Singh. USA created the opportunity, and that just feels like the story of this tour. They've had opportunities to win these games. They just let it go to waste.
Now that's an authoritative stroke. In fact, one of the strokes of the evening. It's not going to be 6, but it will be 4 more. It's a massive over. It could well have had a wicket in it, but instead there's been 3 boundaries and 16 runs in total from it. It's 33 for none.
No, senor. Picture, please. Picture coming. Picture coming. Picture.
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Momo Mia.
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
It's amazing how cricket can turn. I think if you look at the form of the two sides coming into this series, you would have expected maybe USA being favourites for a 3-0 clean sweep of this series. Instead, right now, Nepal are very much in control. They're going to win this series no matter what. But they're in control of their own destiny. It could well be a famous 3-0 away from home win here as Jesse Singh comes into the attack. And this looks very close and is given. And Singh roars with delight, and rightly so. I think for me that's a good call on first viewing. Only question might have been height, but it's the back foot, and the crowd that were reaching fever pitch have been silenced.
Well, the roar there from Jesse Singh, I think, is because he's the one who dropped Anil Shah, and now he's taking that wicket here. It's angled in. It's hit him right in front of middle stump, and I reckon it's a good call. It's hit him on the back leg. Again, very close, but I think that's gone on to hit the top of middle and leg. Jesse Singh gets in on the act, and just what the USA needed as Nepal started to ramp things up. It's 33 for 1 now in the 5th.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई-सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ. Starting from just ₹760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the e-Sewa app and secure your future today.
Kushal Bertel, who hadn't made an international 50 since all the way back in March. His form was so poor at the top of the order that he was dropped down to number 5, 6 and 7 up in Canada. And now, having probably shown a bit in the nets and maybe some discussions amongst the Brain Trust, maybe a little bit of Pupadu Dasanayaka's influence, who's back involved with Nepal as a mentor here. They've got him back not to the top of the order but to this new role of number 3, and you'd imagine with the way he played last night he could be at number 3 for quite a while to come.
Yeah, he's almost locked that position up, and the thing that you loved about him at number 3 was just his intent from ball 1. He was looking to find runs, wasn't looking to slog it around or maybe search for boundaries, but he was going to use his feet. He kept bowlers off balance, and that's almost what you want out of your number 3. You don't allow wickets to fall quickly, and that way the bowling side never feels like they're ahead of the game. That was a real difference in the first innings of match number 2.
And he'll get off the mark. The cheers, there's a great atmosphere building up again. Plenty of fans enjoying the floodlit action. you feel that in a series that's had some contentious LBW decisions, this call is spot on the money.
Yeah, it feels pretty stock standard here from Samir Bandekar. Again, it's hit him on middle stump. The question is height. It's hit him on the thigh, but because it's the back foot in the crease, I reckon that's just gone on to clip the bail of middle and leg stump.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent decision. And I know we've probably been unusually critical of the umpires. There's been, well, a few tough calls. That one was spot on, so credit to umpire Bandekar there. There's Madank Patel, the captain of the USA. Can't do anything about his batting now, nor can Aaron Jones, the vice-captain. They're in the covers together at cover point and extra cover. But they'll be trying to find a way to plot an American victory. As much as anything, I know it's a different format, but very important in terms of going into those ODIs.
Hey, you need a little bit of momentum. Again, it's been a heartbreaking series. That's super over. You should have won that game. 7 from the final over. You take the batting side 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, big stroke attempted. I don't think he's got enough of it. Harmeet Singh runs back and, well, barely gets an arm on it. You just never look comfortable underneath it. It is a drop chance, albeit a very difficult one. And the difference in the standard of fielding between USA and Nepal, well, it's night and day.
It's been the real difference of the series. Harmeet Singh standing there at mid-on, so he's got a long way to track back. It is a shorter side of the ground, but he was just never there. He never got to the position to be able to take the catch. Again, very tough running backwards and taking a catch, especially under floodlights. But Harmeet Singh holds himself to such a high standard. I feel like he should have taken that.
It's a chance. To add insult to injury, how often do you see this? The ball after the drop chance, he just slashes it away. Stand and deliver stuff, gave himself some room, gets on top of the bounce and gets 4. 5 have been bowled. It's 40 for 1.
Really different from soap. Ordinary soap dries itself over time. So imagine what it can do to your skin. But Dove is different. Dove contains 1/4 moisturizing cream, richly blended with mild cleansers, making it softer and more radiant. Get your radiance with Dove.
पैसा पठाऊ ठाउँको ठाउँ फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडाऊ फोन पे गरौ.
Bad on it. Sheikh does really well. Quick hands through the ball. Just opened the face away from that sweep recover fielder. Found 4 runs of his own. And this has been a really good start, and it'll allow Kushal Patel to kind of just settle in to the innings now.
Good to see spin for the first time in this second innings. Probably the 8 overs of left arm spin we'll see, and maybe something from Milan Kumar with the 2 left-handers in Nepal's lineup today. Nosh Kenjigate into the attack. Yeah, we've spoken about that super over a lot, obviously, from last night. Man, it was a sensational game, an unforgettable game. Did you see one little post on social media I want to bring to you? Well, what a stroke. He's certainly back in form, isn't he? Because that's out of the ground. That may well be the shot of the series. A skip down the track, and it's launched, well, 100 metres plus, all the way, bouncing down the main highway and Grand Prairie.
Well, how about that from Kushal Patel? You can just see the confidence flowing. He's run at Nosh Kenjigate, not something many cricketers find success doing. He's picked it up off the length. And again, this was the intent. We're talking about the fearless nature of cricket. He's always searching for runs. And Puburu Dasanaika promoting him alongside Monty Desai to number 3. Well, what a stroke of genius that's proving to be.
And maybe one of the loudest cheers of the entire series as well. Simply outstanding. And this is what we saw from Bertel when he first came into the T20I game. It was at the top of the order. It was fearless cricket. And yes, he had a very lean 6 months. But this is the same player, remember, he made 99 against Zimbabwe in the Cricket World Cup qualifier last year. And he's very much a fan favourite, much like a Dipender Singh Airi, much like a Rohit Paudel, and much like the returning Sandeep Lamachani. We'll see him in the ODIs. Believe he's just landing into USA today. And now a power sweep, bang bang from Bertel. Might not quite have the legs to get to the rope, but Jesse Singh will only be able to save one run. They'll get back for an easy 3. Kenjigay hasn't quite looked his usual self, has he, in this series?
I don't think he's looked his usual self really since coming back into international colors this year. He's had one tour where it's, okay, you're back into it, but you haven't seen him been able to really execute his plans the way he wants to. You've seen him struggle with the variations. Again, he's so skilled, but for whatever reason, he just hasn't quite found the money. And I think the intent from these two bats have really taken to him.
Just wanted to get to that post on social media. Kastab Gudapati, one of the best statisticians going around on the various platforms on Twitter, he was saying that there's only ever been 2 grounds that have hosted a tied international in the same year. Pallekele back in 2012, both in the T20 World Cup, where Sri Lanka and the West Indies beat New Zealand in the Super Over. And this ground here, Grand Prairie, of course, most famously. Sheikh swings and misses. USA beating Pakistan via that Super Over thanks to the boundary off the last ball that got them there. And then last night, Nepal beating USA in the Super Over. They could beat the full member Pakistan, but they couldn't beat Sampal Kami in Nepal. Be a wide down the leg side. The 50s come up inside the power play.
And then you mentioned beating Pakistan. USA feel like Pakistan right now. They're just all over the place, heads all over. They don't really know what to do. Versus Nepal are coming in with a plan, and they're just playing their natural brand of cricket, similar to what the USA did just 4 months ago.
Swept away. There's a lot of real estate out there, and Jesse Singh has an awful lot of work to do. He almost gives it up. He slides around the wrong side of the ball. Kenjigay's first over goes for 14. Nepal are well in control of this chase at the end of the first power play. It's 54 for 1.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई-सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the e-Sewa app and secure your future today.
End of the power play in the USA. They're seeing their chances of winning this match come to an end. And my goodness, what a show we've seen as the spinner comes in. You think to try to take a wicket, not finding it. Look at this, played away. But Peter De La Pena, you joining me here. This dive from Jesse Singh, questionable to say the least.
Well, he used this technique early in the over, and it's not really what you get taught. You want to get behind the ball. He's letting it pass him with the intention to corral it on the opposite side, if you will. Very strange technique as Jesse runs in again. He was luckless in his previous over. After taking that wicket, he could have had 3 wickets in the over. And the fielding, Harmeet Singh skying one. Excuse me, it was Asif Sheikh skying one that Harmeet Singh couldn't latch onto. Difficult chance. But that's the way things have gone tonight. Jesse Singh himself put one down in the field in the 4th over. And this has not been a weekend to remember for USA, as Asif waits to get this one from Jesse.
And not a weekend to remember. And again, not the way I think many people would have thought this weekend would have gone. Remember, coming into this series, it was USA with all the momentum. They were the side that was really flying high, and Nepal coming off a really tough tour of Canada. It just felt this was the time where the USA could really put their foot onto Nepal. But Nepal has responded brilliantly.
And part of that response has been the support they've gotten in a quote-quote away series, which has morphed into a home series. The noise went down there for a couple overs earlier, and the noise is incredible. Change of pace from Jesse. Fox's Asif Sheikh trying to keep him off balance and does it well. Trying to rein in the run rate here, but the noise for a crowd. Yesterday, the official number I got from the officials doing the ticket taking was 1,800. Felt like twice that many.
It did.
And again tonight, probably around 1,300, 1,400. They had 800 tickets pre-sold. They had at least a few hundred walk-ups come in tonight. And the noise from the crowd has sapped the energy out of USA in the field. You can see the body language. And even more body language from Asif Sheikh with authority, pumping that one over mid-off for 4.
You mentioned the looks in the field. Well, look on Jesse Singh. That's just a real nothing delivery. It's sat there up in the slot. It's wide. That's not where he's going to want to bowl it. It's tough coming back-to-back on consecutive days in bowling, but that's no good at any level of cricket, Peter. It's a hit-me ball, and Nepal are doing all the damage at the moment.
Yeah, that's the Jesse Singh delivery you would have expected from 5 years ago. Not somebody with the amount of experience he's accumulated in recent years. And again, the noise from the fans here has really given Nepal an extra spark, whereas, again, USA in the field, they just look very flat. Let's get just a single for this one, going to that short boundary on the west side of the ground as Jahangir relays in. You were out there. I know you were talking about it at the end of last night's game. You were on field. What's the noise like for you when you've been outside?
It's been deafening, for sure. I was standing out by the sports bar and grill, and the last ball, 2 needed from it, and when they don't get it, the roar from that was spectacular there in the black seats, and again, the crowd has just been very vibrant. But what I also notice is you see the expressions of the USA players. I think most predominantly to, the way Andres Gels was almost reacting to Jesse Singh, who wasn't looking for a second run at one point, only went with the single. You can just see that right now. There's just a little bit of complacency settling in. 7 gone, it's 60 for 1.
दाइ फोन पे चल्छ है
चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस्
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं
Stage USA was 54 for 2 after 7. Nepal 60 for 1 after 7. They can afford to have a quiet over. They're still ahead of the run rate as Kenjige continues. I'll tell you what else I've noticed, Aman, is the fans down there, they're well lubricated, shall we say. Aman, they're enjoying a bit of beverages on the concourse. And why not? This is 2024. Cricket is meant to be fun. This isn't your cricket and whites and tea and crumpets. This is flashbang, high-octane cricket. And the fans are embodying that off the field. Yes, raise a glass. Raise a glass, my friend. We're here to have a good time.
They're enjoying it. I mean, why not? Your team is up 2-0. You can see the photographers getting in there. They're coming in with signs, flags. They've really added so much. And again, the roars every time anybody in Nepal do anything or even have a chance of anything happening. Just been electrifying, to say the least. And Peter, also what I'll tell you is that they're so passionate after the games, too, that I remember yesterday after the post-match presentation, Rohit Baudo getting almost just flagged down by every fan in attendance. You had Kushal Bartel taking photos with everybody, and the players seem to just have this infectious energy. They spoke about how it's cool to win away from Nepal, but it feels like they're winning at home, and that's something that has really allowed them to tap into what feels like an extra gear.
Great placement. Impeccable placement by Asif Sheikh. Threads the needle through backward point. Beats Jahangir at sweeper. Another boundary for Nepal.
Smart batting from Sheikh. Again, seeing that sweeper cover is very much towards an extra cover position. He just had to get it behind square and through the infield. He used the pace of Kenjige, who put it on that occasion. Not that wide. And you're just seeing Asif Sheikh really come into his own in this innings. It's been dry for him so far in Dallas, but good signs as they head towards the ODIs.
They're going to look for two. And it's placed perfectly yet again. So much green grass on that east side boundary. And USA, even with somebody the likes of Aaron Jones, who's got some of the quickest legs on the team, he still can't cut it off as they, quite frankly, sauntered that two, Aman. That was casual. Took their foot off the accelerator halfway back down the pitch for the second run. And this time, it's hit a bit too firmly towards Simon Kamala. Coming in at long on, so they'll take just a single to wrap up a 9-run over, 69 for 1 after 8.
One, two, five, go!
Bye-bye.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
Monik Patel get Andres House. For the USA, they just don't seem to get that second one consecutively. It did happen maybe one time with Harmeet and Nash combining, but they'll find one wicket, and Nepal never seemed to give up any momentum after that. They never turned one into two.
And you can see how desperate USA is to reverse that domino effect by bringing Saurabh Netravalkar back into the attack for his third over here in the 9th. Instead of being able to hold him back for some death overs with Ali Khan sitting out tonight, Monik Patel, the USA captain, recognizes he needs a wicket now or else this match is going to spiral out of control very quickly.
And we're curious to see how this affects the ODI squad. Again, another pace option feels like it would have been really valuable. Seeing what Abhishek Bardakar could have done in this scenario would have been really valuable. You would have felt headed into the ODIs where, you don't have any back-to-backs, but, with Ali Khan's injury history, with Saurabh Netravalkar coming back international cricket, just to have the extra young legs going.
Good this time from Netravalkar. Now, one of the other things you were talking about before the break, Aman, after the last over, was how much energy this crowd is bringing, and it continues after the match. The players sticking around to take pictures and sign autographs for the fans who continue to line the boundary. They're not in a rush to leave Grand Prairie Stadium and go home. Not only are they not in a rush to go home from the stadium, they're not in a rush to go home after they leave the stadium, because you go to any of the restaurants in Irving and the surrounding areas, they're having their Momo. I went to one of them last night. It was after midnight, well after midnight. The place was still packed. There were at least 50 Nepal jerseys inside the restaurant, chowing down on steamed Momo. And it just adds to the atmosphere, adds to the community vibe that you're getting here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and specifically in Grand Prairie and Irving. Grand Prairie itself, if you look at it on a map, it's a very bizarrely shaped city. It's almost like a very thin strand. It goes north-south about 10 or 15 miles, but east-west it's only about 2 or 3 miles wide. So you get Irving that straddles it, you get Arlington that straddles it, and you go up Beltline Road, and all along Beltline Road to the north of the stadium, as you get into Irving or Grapevine or some of the other areas, again, you get so many Nepal restaurants, Nepalese cafes, and it just highlights how vibrant this community is to support Nepal. And they're very hospitable. They've got great spirit. They're serenading Aaron Jones, even though it's a day after his birthday. Some of the fans out here, some of the Nepal fans, are serenading Aaron Jones with a happy birthday. That's a spirited cricket moment for Andrew Leonard. He's not in the box right now, but that would bring a tear to his eye. And this will bring a tear to USA's eyes. And a happy tear for Nepal fans as that one clears the sight screen. Asif Sheikh is on fire.
Straight as you like, and my goodness, our camera crew might need to get some helmets on, maybe some protective gear, because that one has just gone under them. Yeah, take away, boys. Well done surviving that one. And the USA are scrambling for answers because this has just been an absolute demolishing. Even Saurabh Netravalkar can't escape it. There's not much wrong with the delivery. It's probably just a touch too wide after it's cut off the wicket. You get hit very, very straight, very, very firmly, right in to the bottom of that scissor lift. And again, well done by camera folks to just stick in. Didn't see them panic at all.
Well, that's an American-made scissor lift. It's industrial strength. It's going to survive a 6 from Asif Sheikh. It's not going to crumble. The camera operators, part of the crew here, they're doing fine work. They had the confidence that everything's going to be all right. It's not all right, though, for the USA bowlers, as Nepal continue this onslaught here in the chase as they pursue a 3-0 series sweep here in this Stake Stars and Summits trophy here at Grand Prairie Stadium. What do you do if you're USA right now? Where is the answer coming from?
You haven't seen Harmeet Singh. I can't imagine why you haven't seen Harmeet Singh. I get Sarabjit Tendulkar could probably give you a wicket, but Harmeet Singh's been the pick of the bowlers in this series. I had to imagine you go to him at some point. He's the man I turn the ball next to with the ball, even when he's bowling short side, longer side. Doesn't matter. Harmeet Singh's the man that has to bowl.
Coming around the wicket, Tendulkar spears this one into the legs, and they'll collect just a single as Jahangir relays in. 9 runs in the over. Felt like a lot more than that with that thumping 6 from Asif Sheikh. 78 for 1 after 9.
नमस्ते साउजी
नमस्ते
भारत तोरी के तेल पाउ न
यो लिनुहोस् नयाँ आएको सस्तो पनि छ
प्राकृतिक राख भएको विश्वासिलो गुणस्तरीय अनि
over in the power play to a Harmeet Singh and be aggressive knowing you have to take a wicket.
Quicker this time and flatter, but still punched away by Kushal Bertel for a single. In this series, 2 for 18 in the first match on Thursday night, none for 36 last night. And prior to that, 2 for 21 in his previous T20I against Namibia down in Namibia in Windhoek. More flight this time. Varying his pace to keep this pair off balance. And at least it does so for one delivery there as Sheikh shows it some respect by just patting it out to Monank at extra cover. Too short, but Sheikh not quite comfortable with that. Pats it back to Harmeet. Boundary alignment for USA. Deep backward square leg is Jesse Singh. Aaron Jones is at deep mid wicket. Mukamal at long on. Milan Kumar at long off. And Abhishek Paradkar is on as a sub fielder, it looks like. Or is that Shayan Jahangir? It is Shayan Jahangir out at extra cover. And again, so much room out on that leg side boundary. They'll come back very, very easily for 2.
And the one thing for me about bringing Harmeet Singh in now is that you're trying to get back into the game. So Nepal will feel more than comfortable to not have to take Harmeet Singh on. You won't see many expansive strokes unless it's right in the slot. So you really put a lot of pressure on Harmeet to be overly aggressive. Had you brought him in 2 overs or 3 overs sooner, you would have given him a chance to bowl while they're still behind the 8 ball.
And you could see Asif Sheikh was thinking about going big. Instead, he's content to tap it for a single to bring up a half century off 38 balls. And it gives another charge into the crowd. The Nepal fans are loving it. It's 83 for 1 at the halfway stage of this innings as the players take a break for drinks.
फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद चढाऊ फोन पे गरौ
हाम्रो चाडबाड होन्डाको खुसियाली बारमा जितौं 10 लाखको उपहार यसपालिको चाडबाडमा स्क्रैच कार्ड मार्फत जित्नुहोस् 10 लाखसम्मको नगद उपहार साथै चुज योर स्किमबाट छान्नुहोस् रु 10,000 सम्मको थप स्क्रैच कार्ड वा 12,500 बराबरको 5 वर्ष एएमसी प्याकेज वा 7 वर्षसम्म बाई 1 गेट 1 सर्भिसिङ फ्री अनि बिग बाइक्समा 1 लाखसम्मको डिस्काउन्ट र यो स्किम होन्डा इजी फाइनान्समा पनि लागू हुनेछ
आज पनि तातो मोमो खाने नो सिनियर पिज्जा प्लेस तातो मोमो खाने हो पिज्जा खाने क्या भाई पिज्जा
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Mamma mia!
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
हाम्रो चाडबाड होन्डाको खुसियाली बारमा जितौँ 10 लाखको उपहार यसपालिको चाडबाडमा स्क्रैच कार्ड मार्फत जित्नुहोस् 10 लाखसम्मको नगद उपहार साथै चुज योर स्किमबाट छान्नुहोस् रु 10,000 सम्मको थप स्क्रैच कार्ड वा 12,500 बराबरको 5 वर्ष एएमसी प्याकेज वा 7 वर्षसम्म बाई वन गेट वन सर्भिसिङ फ्री अनि बिग बाइक्समा 1 लाखसम्मको डिस्काउन्ट र यो स्किम होन्डा इजी फाइनान्समा पनि लागू हुनेछ
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
Is Dove really different from soap? Ordinary soap dries itself over time. So imagine what it can do to your skin. But Dove is different. Dove contains 1/4 moisturizing cream richly blended with mild cleansers, making it softer and more radiant. Get your radiance with Dove.
तपाईको कपालमा कसको हुकुम चल्छ स्प्लिटेन्सको जित या हेयर फलको फैसला हेयर प्रब्लम्स मतलब हेयर ड्यामेज डभको 1/4 मोइस्चराइजिङ मिल्क र केराटिन एक्टिभ्सले कपाललाई भित्रैदेखि रिपेयर गर्छ अब सुन्दर लहलहाउँदो कपाल जसमा चल्छ केवल तपाईको मर्जी डभ
आज पनि तातो मोमो खाने नो सिनियर पिज्जा प्लेस तातो मोमो खाने हो पिज्जा खाने क्या भाइ पिज्जा
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Mamma mia!
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29.
Starts the 11th, and he could have a wicket here. He hasn't had luck earlier in the night. Had a chance, dropped off his bowling in the 4th over, but this time the man who dropped that earlier chance in the 4th over, Jesse Singh, holds on at long off.
Needed that, did the USA. Had to find a wicket. And this is what Janoy Drysdale can do. He can just surprise you with the bounce that he gets. But Asif Sheikh also knew the situation. Plenty of wickets in hand. Felt that he could go big. He's in that kind of state of mind. He's past his half century. A well-made half century. But Jesse Singh, in the end, holds on to what is a simple catch for the USA. The second wicket falls for Nepal. A well-made 50 for Asif Sheikh. He'll get a handy applause as he departs. And is to put everything he could on to this innings. At the end of Asif Sheikh comes, it's 83 for 2.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
A lot of fans on the Nepal side of things may have been slightly surprised he didn't make an appearance earlier in this Stake Stars and Summit series. Kushal Malla, who packs an awfully big punch. Doesn't USA know it well? He scored a brisk half century in his debut series back in 2020 against this USA side. I was in Kathmandu at TU Stadium. Comes into Texas having scored 12, 30, 4, and 19 in his 4 innings in Canada during the Tri-Series, and he's here because Asif Sheikh went for a tennis racket backhand swat. And instead, it's caught by Jesse Singh in somewhat theatrical fashion, falling on his haunches at long off. Kushal Malla made his debut against USA in 2020 as a 16-year-old. He's only 20 now. As a matter of fact, he might have been technically 15. I think it was just before he turned 16 in that series, just before COVID. It was in February 2020. His birthday's in March. And he's got plenty of experience. Again, we talked about with Gulshan Jah, so many of these Nepal players make their debuts as teenagers. He's only 20, and yet he's played 37 ODIs, and this is his 47th T20. Aman, incredible. Drysdale keeping him honest here.
And he's incredibly talented as well. The stats will back up why he's been in the side, and it was almost a surprise that he was left out because he was kind of one of the lone bats up in Canada, but he averages 26 in T20 cricket with a high score of 137, strikes it close to 150. But this is he's almost Aaron Jones kind of player, isn't he? He just takes his time early on and can really get expansive later. But again, for him, the role would have been 2 days ago or the day before where he did play in a similar facet where he was almost just needing to claw the team out of the situation. Now he's got a little bit more freedom, but the situation will suit him where you're just looking at above a run a ball at the moment.
Tucks under that one. Drysdale looks like he's done a little bit of scouting against Kushal because Kushal likes it full. He's somebody who will drive all day long. It's pitched up, but not necessarily as comfortable against the short ball. But he can hit it big. If you pitch it up, it's going to disappear. He's got the second most sixes for Nepal in T20I cricket, 65 sixes. Second only to Dipender Singh Airi, who's got 72. So he's got more sixes than Kushal Bertel, Rohit Paudel, Asif Sheikh. That gives a little bit of insight into how much power he can pack once he does get set, as you said, Aman, because he's off to a slow start here. And again, sticking to the plan to keep it short. And yet the timing is exquisite. They didn't want to pitch it up, and yet Kushal Malla makes Drysdale pay anyway, ruins a would-be maiden over. Instead, 4 runs conceded off the final ball. It's 87 for 2 after 11.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the eSewa app and secure your future today.
A little bit with the bat, but now you have the 3 big middle order batters to come. That's kind of the big deal for Nepal. They have plenty of time. Again, Harmeet Singh's got to find some answers now for the USA. We saw Drysdale get a wicket. Can Singh find one?
He almost did. Hands on head. So close yet so far. Harmeet giving it some air. Spins it past the outside edge. And this was that boundary. Perfect placement, perfect timing by Kushal Malla and the previous over. Back to live action now. And this one skirted wide of Mukamala. Out of cover sweeper who fumbles it. And that ever so slight fumble opens the door for a very alert second to be taken by Bertel and Kushal Malla. Great running between the wickets.
Short side of the ground, and they're able to find it because they run the first one so very hard. Think about in the USA's innings where Mukamala was nearly run out by Aaron Jones trying to run 2 to the short side. It's because the first one wasn't run as quick. These two, they know the running between the wickets is what's going to win them the matches. And they're doing it to perfection.
This time the sweep. A shot that we really haven't seen a lot of in the series against the spinners. But Bertel gets it for 1 behind square. Slight change in the field setting for USA as Mukamala, who was at long on in the previous over for Harmeet Singh, swaps places with Jahangir. They want Jahangir on the straight boundary because they feel he's a better option straight down the ground. Kenjige now with Kushal Malla on strike, the left-hander. This is one of the challenges that gets presented, having to swap your fielding alignment around. Kenjige moves from inside the circle out to deep mid-wicket for the left-hander on that short boundary. Mukamala is at deep square leg. Milan Kumar straight at long on. Jahangir at long off. And Monank can't prevent the single on that occasion.
Nearly a superhuman effort there from Monank Patel. He's got it diving to his right. He's falling away. He throws it down. That's why he's gotten a round of applause from Andres Kraus and Harmeet Singh. And efforts like that the USA need to see from really everybody involved, because even if you don't go on to win today's game, you have to find a way to take some momentum with you. Take a look at this. He's dove out to his right. He's able to fling it back. They're going to come back for another 2 runs. This is brilliant stuff here. Harmeet Singh had to go fetch it. But Nepal so aware. And they're doing everything just right.
Kushal is saying, hey, come on. You got to give me a better heads up than that. Kushal, you got to watch what your teammates have been doing all series. He's not happy because Vijay Malala has signaled 1 short. So actually, they're only going to get credit for 1 run there. And because it was Malala who made the signal, it's actually Kushal Bertel who didn't get his bat across the line. Unless the signal came from square leg, Samir Bandekar. So that's why Kushal Malala not happy. It was actually Mala at the striker's end. The signal came from Bandekar and then was relayed to Vijay Malala. So that's why it was called 1 short, as a wide is signaled here. So 1 illegal delivery left in the over. More flight again, and Monank with another diving stop. He's playing in front of family here. His brother Harsh is in attendance, lives locally here in Dallas, and he's out to support his brother, who makes a great diving stop to deny a single there. 6 runs in the over at 5 off the bat. It's 93 for 2 after 12.
दाइ फोन पे चल्छ है
चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस्
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं
Monank Patel, a little bit more swift of foot than of the 2, and so now Nash Kinjige coming in. Monank will look to him to deliver that 3rd wicket. They need to find him if the USA want any chance of winning today's matchup.
Inside edge by Mala. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Is Andres Kaus, it's not that he's a bad fielder, but you felt like he was a little bit more anonymous when he didn't have the gloves on for USA, and yet Monank, even though he might prefer to have the gloves on, he's, as you said, got a much better first step attacking the ball in the ring. And in some ways, it's arguably better for USA that Kaus has got the gloves on behind the stumps, and Monank is a much more efficient fielder in the ring as a wide is signaled down the leg side.
Well kept as well from House, probably saved a couple of the runs there.
Darts it in flat and short, and it allows Mala to just tap this off the back foot towards Jesse Singh long on for 1.
You can see the plan here from Kinjige. He's trying to use a little bit of the moisture that's happening right now on the surface, a little bit of the dew, to try to get it to skid on from back of a length. So hopefully for Kinjige, he's trying to just get it to hang a little bit lower. And just as Nepal settles on to the back foot, gets one to sneak through, and he can also flight one up, and as all the weight's on the back foot, create a false shot.
Diving over the ball is Jahangir. USA's fielding just hasn't been good enough tonight or in the series as a whole. Another boundary for Kushal Bertel.
Again, this is just a sign of things not going USA's way. They just haven't found any way to keep momentum on their side straight throughout the series. 2 wide from Kinjige. Yes, the arm ball coming back in, but still enough width on offer. Yeah, he can make a face at Jahangir, but not the delivery that Kinjige was looking for. Normally so accurate, hasn't been in complete flow yet.
More flight this time, and still Bertel finds a gap, gets it past Monank, and extra cover, and it's got to be cleaned up by Jesse Singh for a very easy 2.
That'll be the 100 for Nepal. And again, we talked about Kinjige unable to be accurate. Another example of that, but how good have Nepal been in this run chase? Again, they've controlled every facet with the bat, even with the wicket falling early. They just seem to never let that affect the way they play. They've been aggressive, they've been smart with their options, their running between the wickets have been good. Kushal Bertel is now starting to put the impetus on himself to score the runs.
Well, the Nepal players are sitting in the dugout as Jahangir makes up for the miss on the previous diving attempt. Saves at least 2 runs there. The Nepal players are sitting in the dugout, yet the Nepal fans, they're on their feet. They can't get enough of this. Looking down below us, section 103, section 105. They're on their feet. They're cheering every run. They love everything that this Nepal side has delivered over the course of these 3 matches in this Stake Stars and Summits series. And Nepal, again, looks on course to complete a sweep. Last ball from Kenjige, perfectly weighted by Mala. They're going to look for 2, and they're going to get it quite comfortably. Jesse Singh is not going to relay it back in time. So fantastic running continues between the wickets for Nepal. 11 runs in the over. 10 off the bat. It's 104 for 2 after 13.
1, 2, 5, go!
Bye-bye.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
7 overs left, and Kushal Bertel, well, he's picking up from where he left off last night. Andrew Leonard sitting into the hot seat alongside Peter Della Penna for the last time in this series. Peter, I think it's fair to say that this inaugural Stake Stars and Summits trophy has been a huge success, but maybe not in the way in which USA would have wanted it to be on the field. Off the field, it's ticked every box you could imagine. But are we staring now at a potential 3-0 series clean sweep?
Well, we're staring at that. We're staring at a sea of red, white, and blue Nepal fans. Not red, white, and blue USA fans. It's red, white, and blue Nepal fans who are loving this, Lenny.
There's also, oh dear, a collision, and this could be nastier than we would have liked to have seen. I think it's Milan Kumar, Peter, is it, who he's just run into the side of Kenjige's shoulder. No communication, because that's in front of one of the most packed parts of the crowd, and Kumar looks in real trouble.
Well, again, in some ways this sums up how USA has struggled this series. Communication out there on this occasion. Both guys full of effort to try and stop the second. Kenjige is coming from left to right, Milan Kumar from right to left, and basically Kenjige winds up hip checking Milan Kumar right in the head and shoulder. It was Milan Kumar who bore the brunt of that. Kenjige heading over to collect, and Milan Kumar just collided, got his head and neck right into the hip of Kenjige. He's down on the ground right now.
Yeah, you'd have to think that with only 6.5 overs left after this, that Kumar is not going to be best place staying on. There's ODIs to follow, and that will be the concern right now. In theory, they could utilise a concussion replacement, but a lovely moment. A big ovation from the Nepal fans, because Kumar has just sat up, and you talk about how sporting they have been and their passion for the game. A lot of the Nepal fans who are here are in their adopted home, people who've come over to study and live in the United States, and that for me definitely one of the moments of the series.
Well, it looks like he's maybe just got the wind knocked out of him. I think it was just maybe being stunned by the collision, because he's holding his ribs right now, and the contact was made with his head. If anything, you'd think he'd be grabbing at his head and his shoulder, and now he is grabbing at his shoulder. So again, it's Nash Kenjige coming from deep mid-wicket. He's going left-right. Milan Kumar is coming from long on, going from right to left. And it's his head that collides with Kenjige's hip, and that left shoulder that he was grabbing at just as he walked off the field. That's where the damage was done.
And Peter, for those who know their American cricket like you do, Nosh Kenjige might not look imposing, and he's not necessarily a tall figure, but he's a very strong guy. He's a guy who prides himself on phenomenal gym work, and really Milan Kumar's borne the brunt of that. We wish him well. He's gone off. Yasser Mohammed is his sub-fielder. He's down at long on. As Kushal Malla is going to take him on and hit it to his right. You sense that Kushal Malla, who battles so hard up in King City on the difficult tracks, was going to enjoy it when he came onto the flatter wickets here. Brought into the team to attack left arm spin, and that's what he's doing beautifully here.
Well, it's not just that, but he attacks anything full. Again, the scattering report on Kushal Malla is don't pitch it up. You cannot give it to him full because he'll murder it. Much better from Harmeet there. Back of the length, short is okay to Kushal Malla. If you pitch it up, it's going to go a long way.
Yeah, I've said before that Kushal Malla, he likes to eat left arm spin for breakfast, lunch and dinner. It's definitely his favourite diet of what he can be served up. He's a broad-shouldered young man. You talk about the gym work that he's done. He's put on serious muscle. Bertel just looks a different player, doesn't he, from 3-4 months ago. He's been really good. The equation now, 45 to win off 37, still very much in Nepal's favour. Down the leg side, a flick of the pad. And this is going to race away for a couple. Netravalkar will have to do the work. I think it'll be leg buys to round out Harmeet Singh's third over. Hasn't quite had the impact on the series that he would have liked, has he? The left arm spinner. It's 114 for 2.
No, senior. Picture, please. Picture coming. Picture.
Why choose between your favorites when you can have both? Introducing Pizza Hut's all-new Momo Mia.
Momo Mia.
The best of both worlds on one plate. Momo Mia Pizza. Test the epic. Starting at $7.29. Pizza Hut. There's something for everyone.
7 runs in the 16th, 6 in the 17th, 6 again in the 18th, and 7 in the 19th for USA in that stretch that you're referencing, Lenny. And just 1 boundary in that stretch as well. And that's coming back to bite them in a very big way.
Here comes Drysdale again. As Kushal Malla times that nicely through the offside. This will be his final over. Peter, I know you're a big man for social media. I've got to give you one here from social. You're going to love this. Nepal has, I hope I've got this right, I think 9 of the 14 summits in the world that are 8,000 meters or more. And one of the most famous of them is Annapurna, and received a tweet from Pratik, who sent me a message right early this morning whilst it was still pitch black, about 5:30 a.m, because he's up at the Annapurna base camp, and he is now followed up with a photo. I'm going to retweet this here because it's absolutely stunning. He says, here you go. He's on Annapurna base camp, and in his hand he's got the photo with the Kantapur Max TV HD footage. He's watching the Stake Stars and Summits trophy, rather fittingly, from the base camp of one of the most beautiful summits anywhere in the world, Annapurna. It's even better than Everest base camp, the trail up to it. You leave from Pokhara to get there. How good a photo is that?
Well, that sums up the passion of Nepal fans. If you thought what you're witnessing around the concourse here in Grand Prairie is passionate, well, that takes it to new heights, literally and figuratively, Lenny.
Yeah, absolutely love that. And certainly, I hope I've got the number right. It's either 8 or 9 of the 14 summits of 8,000 meters or more in the world. They're within Nepal. And it's known as the Himalayan nation. They've got the Nepal Premier League coming up, that festival of the Himalayas, as they've dubbed it. It's known for much more than that now, because their cricket team is really helping to tell the story of the beautiful nation of more than 30 million people and the big diaspora all around the world. And they're having not just a night, but a weekend to remember here in Texas. Help drain the corner. That'll be 4. Not the right line from Drysdale. And USA, well, they're being blown away here.
Well, Aman Patel compared some of the shots that Saimo Kamal was playing to Surya Kumar Yadav, and I know they're both right-handers, but there was a little bit of Sky in this shot, just getting inside the line and playing that flick pull shot. That Sky has made one of the cornerstones of his batting. You just get the mirror image of it with Kushal Malla. Just flicked it over the fine leg fielder for a very easy boundary.
The return of Kushal Malla to form is maybe the last tick in the checkbox of, if they close this chase out, would be a T20I series that Monty Desai could not be any happier with.
So close, yet so far for USA. Just the small moments in the first 2 games really let them down. They were in winning positions. And the death in particular is where USA faltered. So much attention on the super over and USA's collapse at the end of the chase. But as you mentioned, Lenny, almost a footnote in the match yesterday, the last ball 6 by Karen KC at the end of the first innings, and how consequential that was. 9 runs in the over. It's 123 for 2 after 15.
तितो औषधिबाट बच्नु छ भने लाइफ बोय स्ट्रङ लिनु आउने गर्ने हातबाट कीटाणु मुखमा खुरु खुरु दब हुन्छ सबै रोग सुरु
त्यसैले लाइफ बोय स्ट्रङ यसले दिन्छ कीटाणुहरूबाट 100% स्ट्रङ सुरक्षा
जम्सबाट बच्न अब पाउनुहोस् 100 ग्रामको लाइफ बोय साबुन मात्र रु 45 मा
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
The Annapurna Base Camp, one of the most beautiful mountains anywhere in the world, and certainly one of the jewels in the crown of Nepal.
And I know a lot of people watching back in Nepal on Kantipur TV, and the Nepal fans watching elsewhere in the world, are wondering, Lenny, when are you going to make an appearance at Annapurna Base Camp?
I've promised to do it at some point. Now, because all the time I go to Nepal, I've been there over 30 times now, I'm always working, I'm always busy commentating on cricket. But certainly that's got to be on the bucket list. And it's not about Everest Base Camp, it's all about Annapurna Base Camp. It is 8 of the 14, 8,000 plus peaks they have, not 9. I gave them one too many, obviously most famously with Everest at the iconic 8848, but also not just one Annapurna, but 2 Annapurnas. As Malla goes through the offside very elegantly for 4 more. Are we seeing a return of a second Kushal back to his best after Bertel blitzed his way into form? Now it's his namesake Kushal Malla who's looking really good.
Well, USA is being taught quite a few lessons in the series. And one of those lessons that Kushal Malla is teaching them right now, if the selectors are watching from USA, is the importance of having a left-hander. They've left Stephen Taylor out. They don't have anybody in their top 7 batting left-handed. And Kushal Malla is showing something to the selectors for USA that maybe they need to rethink going into the ODIs.
There is an argument to be made. Nepal will be elated if they can get this chase done. They need just a fraction over a run of ball here. But there's an argument to be made that if Malla had played the first 2 games, this series might have been even worse for USA.
Well, I thought I was labeled as the pessimist, Lenny.
It doesn't feel like an awful lot's gone right. Saiteja Mukamala has been brilliant. Andre's House at points. As he goes down towards long off, but straight to the man. Nepal fans are cheering every run now. But this is a side who looked untouchable in the Netherlands. In reality, they should have won all 8 games on that tour. They managed to conspire to lose games to the Netherlands on their home soil, but they looked brilliant in Windhoek. I'm not quite sure where it's gone wrong for USA on home soil here.
Well, they've got question marks in terms of the balance. Again, Milan Kumar, who took a 5-wicket haul in Windhoek in his last match, he only bowls 1 over here in these 3 matches. You don't have the overs from Stephen Taylor because he's obviously not in the squad.
Short ball. Is it too short? No is the answer.
And in terms of the batting, that left-right balance just isn't there. Recently you had Corey Anderson, you had Stephen Taylor, you had, as you repeatedly said, Gajanand Singh. And the balance off the field as well hasn't been there, Lenny, because Phil Malky cuts an awfully lonely figure in the crowd amongst 1,500 Nepal fans. Phil Malky making the trip down from Cleveland, Ohio, USA super fan. He was in the Netherlands. We saw Phil and
family.
Phil and family came out to the matches that were out in the Netherlands that we were there for.
He's worked into the leg side, going to be 4. And it's another misfield, not easy for Aaron Jones. But they just cannot get their positioning right on the larger side of the ground. And now it's just a run of ball that's needed.
Too short. Jesse Singh's pace tonight just sits up waiting to be whacked. Aaron Jones in vain.
Try and get 2 here, and because Mala and Bertel are both very quick, they'll get them comfortably. USA are being run off their feet. It's an 11 run over. The score moves to 134 for 2.
भाग्यले जहिले साथ देला या नदेला तर ई-सेवा लाइफ केयरले दिनेछ. Starting from just rupees 760 a year. Get coverage up to 5.3 lakhs. Download the e-Sewa app and secure your future today.
Well, we've just loved every second of the atmosphere here. The colour and the passion that's been brought by the predominantly Nepal fans. Occasionally they get a little bit too enthusiastic. I think that fan was somewhere where he probably shouldn't have been, and the security just bringing him back to where he needed to be.
Well, I have to applaud our production crew, Lenny, that they were able to find Phil Melky in the crowd, because finding a person in the crowd with a USA jersey is like finding Where's Waldo. We've got all these Nepal fans in red, white, and blue. Where can you find the USA jersey, red, white, and blue? Phil! Where's Waldo, Phil Melky?
Well, a needle in a haystack amongst the passionate Nepal fans. And this could be interesting. I suspect, Peter, that Kushal Malla is not going to think about 23 off 23 with 23 singles. He's going to take on Harmeet Singh here, whether he gets him or not. At some point in this over, expect a big shot. And there it is. Doesn't get it, but he will probably pick up a couple because he's mistimed it. If one goes up into his hitting arc, Peter, it could head up towards the floodlight pylons and the supermoon that's beyond it.
And one thing I'd like to do, while there's time remaining in this match, just go count the 2s. Because Nepal have run circles around USA quite literally in this series. With the running between the wickets. The amount of 2s they run, not just in this match, but throughout the series, far greater than USA.
And there it is, right on cue, and he does get enough of it. Kushal Malla loves left arm spin, and the meme yesterday was, we're so back. Both Kushals are now back. What a stroke, what a shot, what a player.
Well, you say you love spin, he also loves it full, Lenny. That's right in his wheelhouse. And now it's headed towards the outhouse. Past the boundary rope. Another monstrous hit from Kushal Bertel. I'm looking here, Lenny. USA ran 9 twos in their innings.
Whilst you do that, Peter, just want to talk a little bit about the growing maturity from Kushal Malla. There was times previously where after that 6, wherever the length of the ball was, he'd have tried to go again. But this time, he's just added an element of real poise to his game. He checks it down, takes a single, gets Kushal Bertel back onto strike. Very impressive batting.
USA ran 9 twos. Nepal has run 12 twos, and that doesn't include 2 leg buys, which don't necessarily count off the bat. And we're still in just the 17th over. This chase isn't going to last to the 20th over. And again, it's a subtle thing, but it highlights the strength of Nepal's running between the wickets, USA's weakness in cutting off twos, and conversely, USA's lackluster running between the wickets, if you will, and Nepal's insatiable appetite in the outfield to cut off those twos and have such electric fielding to deny those runs. End of this over. 11 runs from it. It's 145 for 2 after 17.
दाइ फोन पे चल्छ है
चलिहाल्छ नि बस्नुस्
अब पैसा भन्ने कुरा जुन बेला पनि चाहिन सक्छ ठाउँको ठाउँ पैसा पठाउन मिल्ने फोन पे त मेरो लागि एकदमै सजिलो उपाय हो
पैसा पठाउने र पाउने छिटो सजिलो र सुरक्षित माध्यम फोन पे डाइरेक्ट नगद छोडौं फोन पे गरौं
I'm not sure there's a more talented cricketer that Nepal have produced with the bat than the left-hander. He's got X-factor unlike maybe anything I've seen in all my time covering the senior Nepal team. He's not perfect, he's not the finished article, but he's a fine young all-rounder, and he'd be in my starting 11 every day of the week. And it's great to see him back to his best. He battled up in Canada at strike rates that you'd be unaccustomed to see him playing at. Inside edge, they'll get a single, but he's back to striking up towards 150, which is what he's done his whole career.
So what I'm hearing you say, Lenny, is that Dave Agnew, the magnificent groundsman here in Grand Prairie, has he sabotaged the home side by preparing beautiful batting wickets that Nepal has taken advantage of to get their players back into form?
And they're certainly enjoying the better batting wickets. The strike rate's at 150. At one point earlier in his T20I career, Malla was striking up towards 170. Nobody's ever done that consistently in the world game, not even Glenn Maxwell. His career rate is 147 because of a dearth of runs in the last 4 or 5 months, but it's just great to see him back to his best. There's a sense of inevitability to this result. Peter, just need to go back to social media for one more second. I've got confirmation that the reason as to why Pratik was able to send us that photo is that up at the base camps, thanks to WorldLink, there's high-speed Wi-Fi at Annapurna base camp. So he's watching it in full HD and loving every second, and he can't believe his photo was just on the global feed. So big thanks and a shout out to him. Don't go send us in more photos, anyone else. We're not going to bring them all up. That was a one-off. But great to hear from you all watching in your hundreds of thousands, your millions around the world.
What a time to be alive, Lenny. 2024, ain't it grand? Here in Grand Prairie.
Too right. It's 10 to win off 16. And I think for Nepal to really put their stamp and their They're icing on the cake of what is going to be a glorious 3-0 series victory. They'd love one of these two to hit the winning runs and both of them to still be there.
Well, just 9 more needed. And USA have a lot to think about. Ahmed Patel mentioned earlier when you asked him about the ODI squad. Well, the selectors may be waiting to see what happens in those USA A matches. If anybody wants to push their case in those 2 games coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday against Scotland and Nepal. And based on what we've seen here in these T20Is, as they run a 13th to microcosm of this series, the running between the wickets for Nepal has just been head and shoulders above USA. And what looked like a once settled lineup for USA coming out of the Namibia tour maybe now has a little bit of pressure potentially being applied to it. If anybody in that USA A series on Tuesday and Wednesday produces some quality performances, it may give the USA selectors food for thought as to what they want to do when they finally announce the squad that'll take on Scotland in the first ODI on Friday.
150s come up in the 18th over. It really is just a question of when now rather than if Nepal will complete this 3-0 clean sweep, and they have loved every single second of it. We are here for the clean sweep, says that sign, and they've turned out in great numbers again. USA have been a little under par, I think it's fair to say, but Nepal have been exceptionally good, haven't they, Peter?
As I said, head and shoulders above USA. On and off the field, I can see Phil Melke. He's moved all the way now to section 104. He's right in front of us, Lenny. He's standing at the back of the grandstand. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's certainly not clapping because there hasn't been much to clap about for USA tonight or in the previous 2 matches. Meanwhile, the contrast is the Nepal fans. They're on their feet. They want to give this team a rousing send-off. Most of them no longer in their seats. They're on their feet cheering every single run. They want to keep on cheering until this pair gets them across the finish line.
Well, Nepal are now within a blow. It's just 4 to win. They have roundly outplayed USA really in every facet, particularly in their fielding. 2 remain. It's 153 for 2.
Ready? 1, 2, 5, go!
Bye-bye.
Introducing new Honda Dio 125.
सही खोजौं शुद्ध रोजौं मुटु चाहिन्छ मुटु
मेरो मोबाइलमा चल्छ यी सेवा
Has maybe more talent, especially if you see what USA did at the T20 World Cup, beating Pakistan, running South Africa very tight. Now, Nepal ran South Africa very tight, but in a completely different way in the World Cup. But USA was mighty impressive, and yet part of the reason why Nepal couldn't get that first ever victory over Test Nation in the World Cup was their batting was so brittle, and that's what's been so impressive about this series. Their batting has been really stern in the face of this USA bowling. And they've been sturdy, they've been robust. Whether it's the running between the wickets, as they've now brought up a 14th run 2 in that last over, 13th and 14th run 2 to end that last over. And again, USA just 9. It's those little things, those subtle things that have made such a big difference in the series and have made a tremendous impact. USA can't cut off the 2s in the field. Nepal is running them at will between the wickets. And then when USA is at the crease, they've struggled to turn 1s into 2s, as Nepal in the field has been relentless attacking the ball.
3 required to win. Don't rule out Kushal Malla finishing it in grand style here. It's dragged down, it's hammered away, but it will be 1 bounce to the fielder. And maybe it's fitting, given Kushal Bertel's performances over the last 48 hours, that it will be he who can hit the winning runs.
And on the flip side, if you're USA, Nash Kenjige is somebody who typically it's impossible to wipe the smile off his face. He's the happiest guy in the field, wherever he is for USA. Just look at the look on his face. That also sums up where USA is at in the series. He's got a very serious look.
Full toss, but it's straight to the man. So it's going to be Malla. Knowing Kushal Malla, Peter, he's not going to be tapping a single here.
Well, and USA, I think, knows that, Lenny, because even though scores are level, they've still got 5 guys on the boundary. They're not looking to stop the one, they're looking for the boundary catch. Play to Kushal Malla's ego. Now Kenjige's saying, oh, we want to bring Yasser Muhammad in, but they still got long off, long on, deep mid-wicket, and a deep backward square leg in place. When's the last time you saw scores level and 4 men on the boundary, Lenny?
Here we go. Scores are tied. And Malla will just punch it for a single. There's no need to do any more than that. And listen to the roar of the crowd. It's a historic, a famous, a landmark Himalayan clean sweep in Texas. It's the first time that Nepal have ever taken a whitewash in any T20I series. They've done it over a side that went to the Super 8 of the T20 World Cup here on home soil. They came in as underdogs, but they will leave as comfortable victors. There will be joy across Nepal this morning on a Monday morning back at home, but tonight under the floodlights on a Sunday night in Texas, Nepal have made history. Nepal 3, USA 0.
And the smiles on the faces of these fans say it all. They've got the phones out. They want to capture